Hey everybody, Stanley aka DreamSword here. Real quick before we start this long podcast where you'll hear me yap for like nearly 3 hours. So, this version is going to be slightly different than the one we usually do on the BBS podcast. I'm going to have tunes playing in the background that I thought would just kind of fit the general mood and vibe that I was going for, as well as the event. And also, certain little bits will be edited around or outright cut just for time. So if you want to listen to the mostly like unedited, raw, just kind of us vibing and talking about Power Morphicon, that version, the it will be linked in the description on Spotify. So yeah, go check that out. I will also be providing chapter markers on this one, so if there are any bits you don't really care to hear about, so like if you don't care about like the airport, for example, I'll just have that marked and you can just skip past it. So that should be it, and hope you enjoy me talking about Power Morphicon 2024.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special episode of the BBS Podcast. I'm Ryan. In case
On a very special episode.
Isn't every episode special, Ryan?
You can if
It
you
plays
want
the
to be.
Touched by an Angel music.
I'm Ryan. In case you forgot, and joining me, we got ourselves a nice group of people as usual. We've got Stan.
I feel violated already.
Heh.
That's doesn't really sound very good since you came back from something.
Don't worry. We're gonna be talking nothing but praises almost.
Good. We've also got Ryo.
So keep the intro, but like bleep out those sections he doesn't want heard. But leave the reactions.
What are you paying him? Fucking jeez.
I might be. Ryan, I'll slip you 5 to edit this right.
Okay. You want to convince Ryan, be like, Ryan, there's a chicken tender meal in this for you if you do it just right. I'm just saying, like.
Here, I'll slip you a 10 if you cut me out of the way of that attack.
No, I know what I'll do. We've also got Troy.
Hey, I've been trying to think of like if there's anything actually like worth telling what happened this past week for myself. And nothing really big happened.
Wait, we were talking about ourselves?
I mean, I know, like go like so. This happened to me today or this past week when I'm introduced, but nothing really.
Wait, I got it. I know how to inspire you, Troy, okay?
Okay.
Hey, Troy,
Hey, Stan.
what's the word on the street?
Oh my gosh, the word on the street is that pizza's really good.
The
I
word
mean,
on the
that's-
street is Snapple.
The word on the street is that Starbound got revived out of frickin' nowhere. Like, what the fuck?
Leave it dead.
Black Myth Wukong.
That too, yeah.
Looks overrated.
It looks
I only
cool.
want to play that just because it's Dragon Ball is based off of it.
Well, instead we could watch that one, like, Lego movie.
Oh yeah.
It's only a matter of time before someone makes a mod of that game where you just literally are playing as Goku.
Oh my gosh, that'd be... I cannot wait to watch that.
I think there's
Yeah,
already.
Sonic will definitely do that.
I think there's already a mod that switches out the model. I don't know if it does much else
Yeah,
besides that.
I'm not surprised if there is. Like, I'm not surprised at all.
Which is funny because the Journey to the West parody stuff, that only covers like the first arc of Dragon Ball. After that, Toriyama kind of just did his own thing.
Yeah.
The story itself is also like apparently incredibly long. I've been thinking about buying a couple fancy-wancy books for my collection. Journey to the West is not one of them, but I was thinking about, like, you know, Romance of the Three Kingdoms, The Death of Arthur, King Arthur that is. But anyway,
Romancing the Kingdoms?
the Dynasty Warriors thing.
Oh. It was just like the Warring States, you know?
Sorta, yeah.
What do you mean,
Just like
sort of?
Commander Time.
I'm so full of contempt and hate for the world.
I mean, the stories are somewhat similar.
I still can't believe our stupid meme actually became real in that stage show.
I hated it so fucking much.
On this special episode, Stan,
Very special episode.
yeah, Stan was at a thing. Where were you at, Stan?
I'm at home.
That's cool.
But no. At the time of this recording, over the past weekend, I was at my very first Power Morphicon. Power Morphicon 2044. For those who don't know what that is the ex-official Power Rangers convention that they do biannually. And I say ex-official because it was originally the official Power Rangers convention and the biggest one. And then Hasbro decided, why would we want to do that? And so it's not officially associated with the franchise anymore, even though it is still a Power Rangers convention. And also still like the biggest one in the country. So yeah, that's the short version of what that is.
Nice.
Hasbro couldn't do a lot of things right, Alex.
Alex is also here, by the way. She likes to
Yeah.
listen in.
In the chat.
But frustratingly, she uses the centralized chat instead of the channels, which makes it a pain in the ass to track.
I mean, not really. This makes it easier for me. Like,
Dude, if I tab out all of a sudden, oops, you gotta open this again.
well then don't tap out then, I guess, huh? Like,
Fuck that. I got people to keep up with. Begrudgingly.
yeah, that's exactly why these mini chats exist. So,
How is it spam? We don't say anything of worth.
yeah, don't spam them.
Thread.
Like the
idea-
one I made that everybody ignores. Yeah, you could do that.
I really just want to, like, on the main podcast channel, just do a bunch of pictures of spam.
God.
The idea of threads in a Discord thing is just funny to me. It's like, Discord is a chat thing, not a forum.
And now it's literally like a mini forum for your friends.
Sort of, yeah.
But anyway, so if that, stellar intro wasn't enough of an indication for you, you're gonna hear me yap for like probably 2 hours. So if you're not down with that idea, you should probably back out like now. That said, I will do my best to paraphrase things. So
This is a
but
special
we'll see how that
episode that'll be
goes.
going up shortly after we record it, as well.
Very
Yeah.
Special episode.
Yeah.
Those
I
are the-
specifically requested Ryan that because like this is a special thing to me and I don't want this going up like a half a year later.
Right, yeah. 'Cause
So like
you'll
Yeah,
get 2
and-
episodes this month.
And yeah,
So,
and since I'm a Power Rangers fan, I've been really impatient, waiting to hear what your experience was for this.
Troy was like, I don't want to commit to a convention. I want Stan to do it for me. And I'm like, okay.
Not everybody wants to piss away $400.
Oh, I spent more than that.
You're not helping your case.
Yeah, I don't want to use all the money I have on a convention that on a convention that would mean the world to me if I went.
Well, I'm happy to say the short version is this convention is really freaking good. And it wasn't perfect. I'll get into that because there was some difficulties in like scheduling and stuff like that. But general consensus from what I've read online and from what I have heard from in person from other fans and stuff like that, is that this was one of, if not the best PMC for the people who have gone multiple times. And pretty much everyone there, except for like 2 people, had a really good time during it, myself included. Like, now that said, am I like a super big con goer? No, I've been to some big events. Like, I've been to Youmacon a couple times, which is like the big anime con over here in the Metro Detroit area.
Do people bathe?
In Youmacon, no. Like, I'm just gonna be honest. But and then the other, even though it's not a convention, the only other event that's like close to that would be Motor City Pride, which I've gone to a few times over the past couple years. So, yeah, like, that said though, there was, and like I said, we are starting this story from the beginning. You're gonna hear me yap, so strap in. But
he was born in 1993.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, that's where I'm starting. Not anywhere else. No.
From the beginning.
But no. I was actually honestly nervous going to this because A, it's a lot of money. B, this was my first time vacationing by myself, actually. So I was nervous about that. And C, it's California, which is an area to California of all places. Alex caught me there. Which, by the way, is not cheap. I had to work a lot of overtime to make it to PMC. And I was super determined this year for a few reasons. Okay, so, A, it's a convention I've wanted to go to for a very long time. But, like, I've had this curse where, like, every year that they've done it and I've, like, had the money to go, like, comfortably, something would always happen that would eat up that spare cash. Something. Whether it be, like, a bunch of stuff in my house would break. Or, like, a crap ton of merch that I just, like, really wanted would come out all at the same friggin' time. Or, like, some other emergency crap would go down, you know? Like, something. And it would always eat up that money, and I'm like, ah, damn it. And then, 2, the state of what the franchise is in right now, where it's, for all we know, it's dead. Like, and gone, thanks to Hasbro.
Yeah,
right.
And it ended with a big old steaming pile of poop.
Yeah, so that was also a big motivator. And which links into 3, so I guess you could technically say it's 2.5, right? There was a real fear, not just amongst me, but amongst other fans who I had talked to. Stan working overtime while watching fight. Yeah, that was my life for the past like half a year. That's not an exaggeration. But yeah, this was a big fear in the back of the heads of a lot of fans. People were thinking this could have been the final PMC. Because of how, again, this was the quote-unquote official convention for this franchise, right? So people were, you know, logically thinking, well, if there's no franchise, is the con just over? Right? So, a lot of people, and that's also, too, what led to such a big turnout. Like, apparently, at least from what I've read, I haven't looked up statistics, but apparently this was one of the biggest turnouts PMC has had for a good while, too. Not in terms of, like, actors and stuff, although I'm sure it's probably up there, because there were a lot of people there. But, like, in terms of just con-goers, like, jumping ahead slightly here. Okay, the con floor, like, the main floor of the center, is, like, 6 times the size of my house, okay? That place was packed with people. Like, corner to corner. It was insane. I had never seen so many people freaking just in one spot. Alright, like, it was craziness. So that was a big shock, but, like, again, we'll get there. But yeah, so how much traveling have you guys done, like, in general? I'm curious, like, by like plane specifically.
Like, my, like, whole life or just recently?
Your whole life.
Okay, I've gone to the Caribbean, England, Alaska, Texas, Costa Rica, and like going to Alaska, like I was in Canada for like 3 hours.
Okay.
I used to visit my grandparents every summer. We'd fly out.
Oh yeah, and like the first time I ever like was on a plane was to New York City, and of course, like when I was a little kid, I watched Home Alone 2 like a lot. And
Religiously.
Yes, and I was so disappointed that we did not stay in the hotel in the movie, and like we just stayed in, you know, like the Hampton Inn or something like
Right. The Plaza Hotel, thank you.
that. I didn't want to say it incorrectly. Yeah, the Plaza Hotel.
Ding dang dong.
Yeah, like you say, like in the like Hampton Inn or something like that, and we had just like a crappy view of the city because like all we just see are just normal buildings. Couldn't see the Empire State Building or anything like any like actual landmarks from the window.
Did you see the Twin Towers? I'm not even making a tasteless joke. I don't know when you went.
No, we went before 9/11. So yeah, I don't remember the Twin Towers. I'm sure my parents probably pointed them out to us flying in. But yeah, like it's been well over 20 years since we went there, so I don't remember everything.
For me, as far as flying goes, I've really only flown like I think like once or twice for like maybe Disney World or something. Every other kind of traveling I've done has been driving, and even then it's been mainly in the Americas. Besides maybe the Bahamas one time, but other than that, yeah, it's mainly, as far as flying goes, like not very often. I barely even remember.
Okay. Alright, so, like for me, when I was a kid, my tia used to be a stewardess, so we would use her frequent flyer miles a lot, right? So, I was used to, like, old school flight. I was not used to this. It's been a while. So, for example, at my local airport, pick up and drop off is easy. You literally drive up, get dropped off, you enter the freaking airport, and you're on your way, like through security and stuff, right? So, and like even airport security's not really that bad. It's literally just like put your backpack on the conveyor, empty your pockets, you take your shoes off, you're good to go, right? So, California airport, the one in LA, which is where I landed, very different experience. And it was kind of confusing because, like, maybe it's just because I'm familiar with my airport, right? But it's pretty straightforward. You can't really get lost in there unless you're, like, can't read, right? California airport, though, is set up like a weird twisting spiral. And it's kind of odd to navigate. And, again, this is jumping ahead to when I'm doing the return trip. But I might as well just get out the way now. Security in there is a lot tighter, too. So, like, when I was coming back from the con to, my home state, I was thinking, the same thing. Like, okay, I'll just go up to, the security gate, I'll empty my stuff, I'll be on my way. Nah, bro, they basically make you strip freaking naked, like, right there. Like,
well,
like
it's
no,
California.
they're way freaking more thorough, dude. Like, and like, I did get patted down. Like, because, like, I did the scanner thing, and then the security dude took me aside, and he's like, okay, so we got a problem. And I'm like, what? Like, what the fuck? And he was like, yeah, according to our scanner, you're hiding something in your butt. And I'm like, excuse me? Like, what would I hide?
What were you doing?
Like, so, thankfully, he didn't, like, bend me over and reach up there. He just, like, patted me down, and then I was able to go on my way. But, like, that was such a weird conversation to have. I've never had that before. Like, so, but yeah. Anyway, airport stuff is almost done. So we're gonna rewind now back to when I'm flying in, right? Again, at the Detroit airport, all your drop-offs and pickups are just in this one area, like right outside the airport. It's not contrived, it's not convoluted, it's whatever. I guess thinking about it, this does make sense for California though, because it's probably got a lot more tourism, right? What you do is you order your Lyft or Uber or whatever, because they have a couple other like rideshare programs out at the West Coast. I didn't even know they existed, but they do. You order them in one specific area, and then after you order them, a trolley shows up, and you have to ride the trolley to this secluded area outside of the airport. And then you have to go to a specific zone within that zone to wait for your ride. It was very strange. I had never done that before. And by the way, that trolley is tiny, and they freaking pack you in there. Like, it was shoulder to shoulder in there with people and their luggage. It was not comfortable at all. But anyway, my Lyft driver made me very sad, kind of, because like he made me wish that I had the budget to extend my vacation by like at least one more day. Last time I was on a tram, I cut my elbow and people had to watch me bleed. I'm like, ouch, Alex, damn. But yeah, my driver, he was nice. But he was telling me about all the stuff you could do just in like the Pasadena area alone, and I was like, damn, I wish I had the money for like one more day, cause like for example, he was telling me about like Koreatown, which I didn't know was a thing, but it is. And he made it sound like super cool, and I'm like, damn, I wish I could have spent a day visiting there, like get barbecue, you know? That'd be neat. But it was not to be. So, anyway, arrive at the hotel, and I thought this was the start of a bad omen. Because I arrived like a little bit past midnight. Californian time, specifically, you know. And I get up to the reception, I'm like, yeah, I'm here to check in, I'm Stanley, you know. And he's like, oh, so your room's not ready yet. And I'm like, okay, how long? And he's like, about 3 hours. And I'm like, cool. Can I sleep in the lobby or something while I wait? And he was like, yeah, that's fine. And so, yeah, I literally set up my laptop in the lobby and I just fell asleep to YouTube videos. And I set an alarm for like 3 hours later.
No, you know what you should have done?
What?
Get all up in his face and say, hey, do you know who the hell I am?
Yeah,
I'm the
bro.
Mizuho BBS Podcast, goddammit.
Yeah, brother.
I am an influencer.
And I can't wait to tell them that this place rejects Mexican people. It's just
That's right, you get him, Axel.
At 12 o'clock at night.
But anyway, I wasn't the only one though. There was like 2 other guys who they also got told the same thing, and like they passed right out on the couches in the lobby, like they were snoring. So. But yeah, no, so I was sleeping on and off like for the past 24 hours, which is not healthy, and is also not. I'm not like Ryan. I'm not used to doing that. Okay. Like, don't get me wrong, I still made it. But yeah, that was interesting experience for me. But you know, the hotel room I got, it was nice. It had a good view of the mountains. It was on the 8th floor. It was nice and air conditioned, you know, clean sheets, all that stuff. It was a nice room. The only thing that I didn't really like about this hotel, which was the Hilton, by the way, the walls are very thin. Like, if people, like, thankfully I didn't, like, hear anybody having sex or anything like that, but like,
yeah.
like, if people were, like, talking on the phone or whatever, I could hear, like, them mumbling, you know what I mean? In which case, people probably heard me doing the podcast episode that we did during that, but whatever, fuck them. But
I'm trying to sleep.
yeah, whatever. So, but yeah, no. Otherwise, the room was fine. It worked just for little old me. It was a king size bed, which that was nice. Because me personally, I'm one of those people where when I sleep, I like spread out and I like take up the whole bed. So.
It's most men.
So now we're officially in con, right? Day 0 specifically. So again, I'm still nervous because I'm doing all this stuff by myself for like the first time, right? I make sure I got all my stuff. I'm dressed with all that. And by the way, one thing that was nice about this hotel was breakfast was free, so that was dope. And I actually had the same waiter for all the 4 days that I was there. I can't remember what his name was. But he was very nice.
Were you drinking orange juice out of a champagne glass?
Actually, yes.
Hey,
I
there
actually
we go.
was.
That
I
sounds like
actually
much
was.
fun.
Yeah, no, like I did sing the song in my head when he first served me. I was like, okay. But breakfast was good. I had, for the first 2 days, I had an omelet with toast, and they had 4 different kinds of like spread. They had orange marmalade, and then raspberry, strawberry, and blackberry jelly. And of those, I had never had. Well, the only one I had was the strawberry jelly. I've had that before. The other 3 I had never had before, so that was new. I actually like the blackberry jelly. I thought that was actually pretty good. I don't know if like other places serve that. Me personally, I've never seen that before at like diners or whatever. But like, if they do, I'll have to keep an eye out for that now. It was good stuff. And then for the other 2 days, I had pancakes and French toast, which were also good. Anyway, thankfully, this hotel, it wasn't the closest one to the convention center. Like, the Hotel Dina is literally, like, connected to the convention center. Like, you could literally, like, walk down a hallway and you're in the center, right? But no, the Hilton was, like, a 5-minute walk away, which, you know, that's fine. Cool, whatever. And even though, like, from what I understand, the Hilton's one of the pricier hotels in that general area, I went with it because, like, specifically of its location. Because, like, otherwise I would have had to have paid for, like, an Uber every day, and that would have racked up money really fast. So I would have rather have just paid the extra hotel money and then just like walked, you know. Which was cool. That was fine. And I guess what I'll do is I'll finish talking about the hotel specifically, and then we'll get into the con stuff, okay? And then I'll just focus purely on con stuff, because like the hotel stuff isn't going to take that long. There's only like one other thing I want to note about it. I did not realize how many Ranger actors were going to be staying in that hotel. It legit surprised me. Because, like, after I had gotten back from day 0, which I'll get into later, they all started filtering in. And it wasn't literally every actor who was there, but it was a good lot of them who I saw, like, walk up in there. And I kind of felt bad for them, honestly. Because, like, they walked in, they checked into their rooms, right? And then they walked to the dinner area because I guess you could also get free dinner at that hotel, but I never got the chance to because I stayed at the con for like the max time each day, right? So I missed the window. So I had to like Grubhub food, but whatever. That's not important. Anyway. But yeah, no, they all were gathering. They were all getting ready to eat their dinner and stuff. And like, needless to say, they were swarmed by fans. Like, they were surrounded within like seconds. Because like pretty much everyone who was staying at the hotel was there for the convention. And I thought about also going up to like talk to them, but my nerves are already going as they are. And again, I feel bad for these guys. It's like they're just trying to eat, you know. I didn't want to be annoying. And plus too, like that night, that was when we did the podcast on Kamen Rider Drive. Future cameo there for you. And so I was like, you know what? No, I'll just save it for the convention. Yeah, like, so I waved hi to a couple of them as I passed them, but that was about it. All right. But yeah, so that hotel was lively, and it would only remain livelier because the Hilton was hosting actually a few social events specifically for that con. So like at the end of day 1, they did what was called the after party, which was literally just like a social gathering where you can just kind of mingle with people and like drink wine, you know, if you really wanted to. I didn't go to that because A, I didn't have the money for it, and B, I'm not really a social dude like that. Not really. Which, by the way, that might surprise some people because you hear me yapping right now, but trust me, it's a different beast.
Right.
Anyway. So, I didn't go to that, and then they also did what was called the quote-unquote power breakfast on the final day, which was where the actors would sit at various tables, and you could, like, choose a table and socialize with whoever was there, right? Again, didn't go to that either for the same reasons. No money, no, I ain't social like that. like I have the social skills of a sloth, okay? like I'll be real here. Hasbro Last Supper.
One of you
That
will
would be
betray me.
funny. That would be funny. And considering that there are actually a handful of religious actors, or actors who are religious, I should say. Honestly, I wonder if they would be down for like doing a parody photo like that. I don't know though.
They'd have to
Anyway.
have a Hasbro exec like in the corner to be Judas, but
Yeah. Or Simon Bennett, for people who know who that is. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's pretty much all the hotel stuff. It was nice. It wasn't like a Hotel from Hell situation, like for the people who have seen that video from like, God, that's an ancient video now. That's like 20 years old, Jesus.
That made me think of Gordon Ramsay's television show.
Really?
Hotel Hell?
Yeah. But, so okay, now we're into the main con stuff. So day 0. This was the one bonus thing I did pay for, because technically day 0 of the convention exists, but at the same time it doesn't. So like, what day 0 technically is for the people who want to like pre-register and just pick up their badges and then just like leave, right? That's pretty much all it's open for. Unless you paid for what I did, which was the Morphicon field trip. And if you can't key in immediately what that is, that's where you and all the other nerds who paid for it load up onto a series of buses, and they took us to various filming locations around California. And the 3 locations they took us to, one of them was a famous park. I can't remember the name of it at the top of my head, but it was, do you guys remember the scene during the Green Candle arc where Goldar, like, teleports down and he, like, beats up Tommy and kidnaps him? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. That's where they filmed that.
Kind of mountain
And-
area.
Yeah, like a mountainy, like, beachy area like that.
Yeah,
And there was a lake.
sandy.
So, they also did a couple other scenes at that park, too. Like, there's a scene where Tommy is, like, training atop, like, a little waterfall. That's at that park. There's the scene where the team is handing over their power coins to Goldar. That was at that park. Just a couple examples, right? And it's a very nice park, for sure. We also went to the Vasquez Rocks, which is known as the Desert of Despair in Rangers lore. AKA the desert literally right outside the command center, for those who don't know what I'm talking about. So it's where like the first putty fight happens. It's where the red Zeo crystal gets discovered in like season 3, etc. And by the way, those rocks are big. Like, that wasn't just filming techniques to make them like look like huge or what. No, they are that freaking big in real life. They're huge, like skyscraper level huge. Okay, like, and there were a few people who were insane enough to climb to the very top of them. Oh yeah. In fact, there are people insane enough to be in full ranger gear. While doing that, I would be sweating my ass off, dude. I ain't gonna lie.
But
I didn't-
Professional.
Yeah, I got like halfway up one of the big ones before I just said, nah, I'm good. Because like my tennis shoes didn't really have good traction, and my feet were like slipping a bit, and I was just like, nah, I'm good. So
I don't
So,
got the
like-
kicks for this.
yeah, so like if I were wearing like my work boots, then I might have done it, but like, nah, not in my tennis shoes. No, we're good. They had a surprise for us there as well. which was the actor who played young Tommy in season 3, when Lord Zed turns back time and turns everybody into kids.
It was very silly.
Yeah, he was there. He took pictures with everybody. He was a cool guy. I got to talk to him for like a minute. You know, it's whatever. And then the final place they took us to, and the most important place, was the House of Books. And for those who don't know what the House of Books is, well, first of all, it's a religious center. But second of all, it is the command center of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Like the actual building. And we weren't allowed inside. And I understand, right? I get it.
I was about to ask that question if you could go inside.
Yeah, because it's a sacred place, right? So I get not being let inside. I get it. I do. But man, like, just being outside that thing was something special because, like, just let me put it this way, okay? We had 4 buses worth of people on this field trip. All right. When we started going up the hill that led to the House of Books, everyone on my bus started going crazy. Like, they were super excited for this. And then it only got, like, people only got more excited when everyone started, you know, exiting the buses and climbing up the small hill to get to the command center. Like, it was legit 4 buses at the Days event. Yeah, no, people were excited for this. It was a huge party out in front of the command center. And it was where like, my nerves didn't completely subside, but I definitely got a bit of relief off my shoulders. Because, like, everybody was here to celebrate Power Rangers. You know, that's where it was like, and like, you might think, yeah, no, duh, Stan, it's a Power Rangers convention. No, you don't get it. Because, like, being online, which is, like, the only place you can really find Toku fans, right? Or Ranger fans, even, much less, right? So, like, Twitter or, like, forums or whatever, right? There's so much toxicity just throughout all that. And, you know, it's the internet. You kind of have to expect that. But, like, when it comes to, like, just Toku in general fans, and maybe it's just because it's the fandom I talk to most, right? So maybe I have some proximity bias there.
Well,
but,
listen,
like,
I just hate everything.
yeah, like, but, like, over the past few years, man, like, at least in my eyes, like, a lot of Toku fans have just become more and more toxic. And, like, they just, like, to the point where I'm like, why do you still, like, why are you here? You know what I mean? Like, why actively ingest poison? You get me? Like, it's just so confusing to me. But, like, the people who made it out to this event were different. They were here to celebrate. They were here to have a good time. They were socializing. There was a dude who started playing all the theme songs, and people started dancing to him. There were cosplayers there who were getting together to take group photos. Like, there was one girl who her gimmick was she dressed as a different Red Ranger every day. She legit hugged the command center, and she, like, started tearing up. Like she, yeah, no, that, like,
That's really cool.
yeah, like, and it only got, like, the positive energy was, like, I had never felt that before. Like, I hadn't felt that much positive energy at Motor City Pride, which, like, that's the whole point of that event. You know what I mean? Like, and those positive vibes only grew bigger when it came to, like, the actual quote-unquote real days of the con, right? Which I'll get into in a minute. But, like, yeah, no, I was like, holy crap, no, these are people who, they love this franchise, you know? And I hadn't seen that in forever. I was like, where have you all been hiding? You know? And, like, it wasn't... And these people came from, like, all over the world, by the way. So this is also, too, where I want to give a shout-out to a few dudes who I met there. So, if you're listening to this, somehow, shout-outs to Matthew, shout-outs to TJ, shout-out to Bradley. Those were the 3 dudes I met over the course of this convention. And they were really cool. We hung out, we talked. They were really nice guys. And they made the event even more enjoyable. Like Matthew, he came from Australia.
Oh, wow.
To be there. Yeah, and, like, he spent a lot of money to be there, too. Like, he loves it. Like, and it was also funny, too, because, like, this wasn't his first PMC. I think it was his third, if I'm remembering correctly. I might be misremembering that, but I think it was his third. I think. And he had done his research, because like he was like our tour guide kind of for like the field trip, where he like led us around to like certain spots and certain locales and stuff and whatnot. He was a cool dude. He was the most social out of everybody, dude. That boy could talk. like he did all the talking for me. Like, shout out to him. All right, like, but yeah, it was charisma 20. Yeah, pretty much. Whereas me, I have charisma of like -6. Okay, like, but but yeah, it was a fun time. We all partied at the House of Books. People got photos. You know, it was a cool time. So that's pretty much day 0. And you know, I got back to. They drove us back. I did the pre-registration, picked up my badge. Good to go. Ready for main con 1, 2, and 3. So now I need to get my phone real quick because I'm gonna use the pictures I took kind of just remind me of like the order of events a little bit, right?
Sure.
So just give me 1 sec. Hold on, sorry.
Here's your padding. How much did it cost to go there?
In terms of what? Because
in general.
So the plane ticket honestly wasn't terrible, relatively speaking, because I bought it at like the beginning of the year, so it was way out. So for round trip it was $500.
Okay.
Okay, so all those people have been behind the $500 paywall.
Yeah, pretty much. But now the hotel, that freaking killed me. Okay, like that was like $1,200 for the 4 nights I stayed. Yeah, no, that was not cheap. I had to work a lot of overtime for that. So okay, so I've got the pictures here. I didn't know what to expect in the lead up. So I didn't realize how many people were actually going to be here at all. Like, I probably should have queued in from the hotel, or not the hotel, the field trip. Honestly, that probably should have been my first clue. But keep in mind, I'm like half asleep, you know, and I'm still like kind of recovering. But I'm in pretty good shape for the most part for day 1. So I'm like, you know what? It's only a 5-minute walk. I'll leave a half hour early. I have VIP status anyway, so I get in earlier than everybody else. We'll be good. Big mistake. I should have left earlier. Because there were a ton of people in line already. Now, granted, it's not like people were going slow in getting into it when they did finally open the door, so it's not like I was waiting like a whole hour or some shit to get in there. But I was in the back of the line. And it's also where I start meeting more people. So, like, technically I met this, like, one of these dudes on the field trip, but I didn't really start actually talking to him and some others until, like, the main con. So, like, I actually did meet a few YouTubers at this convention. I don't remember all of their channel names. I'd have to look it up again. But, like, there was one dude named Gabriel. He seemed like an alright guy. He was a vlogger.
Okay.
There was one dude named Spoiled Bro, who he was a merch channel. And there was a few others I ran into. Shout outs to them, if you're listening to this for some reason.
Did you meet Pixel Dan?
But I did not meet Pixel Dan. Was he at that?
I have no idea.
Did you meet Linkara?
Thankfully, no.
No.
Saying, did you tell them that you do a podcast as well?
I did not. I did not tell them. They did not ask. So, and they're pretty nice people. Again, though, I wouldn't doubt if I like came off wrong at some points, because again, I have like no charisma at all. So like, but whatever.
People can be hard to read too, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely, they can for sure. And that's also why my nerves were going with this, because I knew I wanted to meet actors and talk to them, right? That's like half the point of this thing, you know. And I didn't know what to expect when I entered the show floor. I didn't. But when they opened the doors and I got in there, I was blown away by how, and I mentioned it earlier, but I was blown away by just how packed this place was. Like it was wall to wall with like cosplayers, with like people like recording stuff on their phone, and also just like a ton of merch booths too. Like there were a lot of like salespeople there. Like 3-0 had an official booth there. What did it smell like? Well, Alex, thankfully I have a very bad sense of smell because my sinuses are so bad. Like it's like legit, I almost don't have a sense of smell because of that. So like, if it was dank, didn't affect me. so I had one up on that regard. But yeah, no, like 3-0 had an official booth there. I took some photos of like the figures they were advertising. They looked cool in person, I won't lie. Like I was actually really impressed by their showing of the Green Ranger V2 figure that they are promoting right now. It's not out yet. They had a prototype of it in like a little case, and they didn't. For the people who don't know what that suit looks like, let me just do a quick. Let me give you like a quick photo of it real quick. Hold on.
This is probably a dumb question, but was Hasbro there at all?
No, Hasbro was not there. They wanted nothing to do with this crap,
Sure.
like at all. Hasbro, in fact, hates Power Rangers, by the way. That's actually true.
Yeah, I noticed.
So...
Yeah, they hate them so much they just had to own the rights to it.
Yeah,
Roy, that's how
they
business
bought
works.
it just to kill it, like, legitimately. That's what they did.
The
So
world
this
is
isn't
unfair.
this isn't the best photo of showing off what it looks like, but it's a good enough shot. And no, it's not Hasbro selling the figures. But yeah, that's the gist of what the Green Ranger V2 suit looks like.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So something cool 3-0 did with their figure of it is, okay, you know all the techie lines that you can see like on the main body there?
Yeah.
They actually painted those with glow-in-the-dark paint.
Ooh.
And to show that off, they put the figure under a black light so that it would glow. Like, I thought that was a really cool touch. But yeah, 3-0 was there, Super 7 was there, Ageless Geeks was there, and there was just a bunch of other sellers that were just doing, like, various things. Like, there were artists there, obviously, you could do commissions if you wanted. People selling posters, pins. There was a dude who specifically made t-shirts there, and he actually did do a thing with PMC, like an official thing where like if you paid for gold membership like I did, you got one shirt free.
Oh, nice.
So I got a free shirt.
I got a question.
What's up?
Just to make sure, like when you say he made t-shirts there, he wasn't like literally making them there.
He had the machine to put the design on the shirt.
I guess that counts.
Gotcha.
So like technically the base of the shirt is like a basic like Hanes black t-shirt, right? And then you would just choose the design you want, and he would just press the machine with it, and he would give it to you. So no, he didn't like weave it, like handcraft it, like right there. That would take forever.
That
But,
would
like,
be awesome.
it would be awesome, but it would take like 5 years. Okay, like But yeah, so I spent first of all, I'm way too nervous to go up to any of the actor booths. Like I don't have the guts at this point, okay? And Matthew and TJ, they're both very nice. And I had not met Bradley at this point for day one. But yeah, they're both very nice, and they're like, "Oh no, dude, it's fine. You know, the actors, they're nice people. They're not gonna like hurt you." Like, and I'm like, "I don't know, bro. Like,
Emotionally,
I'm like, dude, I'm very socially awkward. Okay, like I feel like I'm gonna say the very wrong thing, and they're gonna like karate chop me like emotionally. So stand
Hold on.
before the altar. Kinda, yeah, kinda.
hold on. Power Rangers was far less about karate chops as it became about punching and kicking.
Yeah, yeah.
So they kick your ass. They wouldn't chop it.
Yeah. So, Infest license, yeah. So I was like, you know what? Just to work up some nerves, I'm just gonna hang around Artist Alley for a little bit, and that was honestly the best move, because I was just so impressed by the fans. Like, don't get me wrong, meeting all the actors is cool, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But like, the fan base really did blow me away, and they were like the main highlight of the show. Again, just like all the positive energy that was circulating in this area was incredible. I had never felt like you could literally feel it in the air. You could, or at least I could. Like everybody was just laughing, having a good time. They were just talking about like Ultraman or Kamen Rider or Power Rangers or whatever. They're celebrating their fandom, having a great time. Like even when it came to like, let's say Kamen Rider Ghost, right? Like, because this did come up a few times in combo. The worst anyone had to say, which, by the way, if you like talk like Kamen Rider Ghost, if you're going by like the online sphere, you'll see people constantly post like Kamen Rider Ghost is worse than if you were dying of cancer or something like that. You know what I mean?
Hey, it's worse than chemo, not cancer.
like just hyperbolic, like toxic stuff like that. But like the worst thing anyone ever had to say about anything was just like, it wasn't my thing. So it was such a turnaround that I was not used to with Toku fans. And it's what made me decide, because like they did have panels throughout the entire show, obviously. And I did go to a couple of them, but after like exploring Artist Alley and like talking to people and like taking pictures with cosplayers and stuff like that, and just having a good time, I was like, what, I want to celebrate these fans, because like this is such a rare experience, like at least for me. Like maybe there's people out there listening to this and they're like, nah bro, join like super ultra mega toku fans.net and we're like the coolest people ever. I don't know, like but yeah, there was just so much love and passion that I just wanted to highlight it, even just a little bit, And so I was like, screw it, I'm gonna skip most of the panels, because those all get put on YouTube anyway. And in fact, as we're recording this, some are getting uploaded right now. And again, it was such great vibes for everybody. So like, by the way, my thing. So originally I was only going to pack three toys. That being the Power Morpher, because obviously, right? The next being the Arkle from Kuga, because Kuga is my favorite Kamen Rider. Or is, I should say. And then the Blazer Brace from Ultraman Blazer. Because, A, I like Blazer, and B, Johnny and Bosch was there, so I wanted to, like, show that off to him, right? But like, I managed to, in packing all my stuff, I managed to fit one other Morpher in there, which was the SPD Morpher. And for those who don't know what the SPD Morpher is, because SPD is the police in that season, their Morpher has a thing called the Judgment Game, which it basically does like a bioscan of like whoever they're fighting to determine, it's a lie detector basically. It determines if someone's innocent or guilty of something.
Yeah, they basically put them on pseudo trial.
Yeah. And the toy has that function. It has the Judgment Game on it. So every now and then I would do that. I would be like, I would ask people, I'd be like, hey, do you want to play the Judgment Game? And they'd be like, sure, whatever that is. And I would explain it. And I loved getting photos of people's reactions to whatever they got, whether it be innocent or guilty. And I'm not going to sit there and say, like, oh, I was Mr. Popular now at this convention or anything, but, like, I did get a little bit of a reputation where, like, there were a couple of people where they're like, oh, you're the Judgment guy, you know, like, and I was like, yeah, so...
That's awesome.
Yeah, so, but yeah, so that was fun, and, just, again, talking to these fans and, like, hearing their story, because, like, all these people are way more social and way more charismatic than me. And I'm like, where did you all find this inner power? Because, like, so, like, for example, to highlight another guy, I can't remember his name, but he'll know I'm talking about him. as I do this, and I'm going to paraphrase what he told me, because I talked with him. During day 1, he was dressed as Aruto from Kamen Rider Zero One, and then during day 2, he was actually dressed as Zero One, like the Kamen Rider, like in full gear. It was pretty cool. And yeah, I did the Judgment game with him, and he was like, he decided he wanted to have a convo, so I was like, sure, And he was telling me about how, like, he actually used to be a Marine, and he showed me, like, his surgical scar on, like, his shoulder, and, like, apparently he's retired now because, like, he got his shoulder blown off, and it's actually, like, a metal plate now that's, like, his shoulder. And he was talking about how, like, the reason he wanted to be a Marine was because he wanted to help people. Because he served during, like, the Iraq times, right? And, like, apparently that's a lot of what him and his, like, troop did, was, like, they didn't go around, like, shooting people or anything like that, or at least not often, from what I understand. They would go around, they would give people food, they would give them water, and just help people out, right? And he was like, yeah, the people there are very nice, and he didn't really support the war, or at least from what I understand. And he was just talking about how, like, he wanted to, like, be a hero, pretty much. And so, he didn't say this, but I couldn't help but think to myself that it was actually kind of fitting that he was cosplaying as Aruto, because, like, Aruto's whole thing is that whether you're human, gear, whatever, he believed everybody deserved to have a good life. Like, that's what he fought for as Zero One. And so I was like, what, that lines up. I can see why Aruto would be a character you would take a shine to, if, like, that's your, like, philosophy, So I thought that was really cool. And there were other couple stories around there like that. What's funny about the cosplayers, too, is I apparently ran into a few cosplayers who were actually kind of popular, and I had no idea who they were. But they were cool. I only found out after the fact who they were, but yeah, they didn't mind. They were cool. Like, yeah, I'll take a photo, whatever. So that was nice. I also talked with an artist guy there. Oh, sorry, what?
I was gonna say, like super popular people just meet normal people who don't really know who they are and want to take a picture. They're like, oh wow, this is so nice. No one's not crowding me or asking ridiculous questions.
Right, yeah. By the way, here's another shout out. Joshua Lee, who was an artist there. He was cool. His prices were actually pretty fair, I thought. And he actually did, like, on-the-fly, like, commissions, like, artwork.
Oh, that's awesome.
And he actually did good stuff. I will not lie. I legit liked his stuff. It's just, sadly, I did not have the budget nor the space in my luggage to buy anything. So, but I did, and he actually was, because he also was a cosplayer. He was nice enough to get a couple photos with me and play the Judgment game and stuff. So all I did was I took a picture of some of his stuff and I spread his tag around to a few people. So hopefully, he'll get some more service that way, some more customers. But yeah, he does good stuff. I liked him. Him and his friend who are running the booth, they were very nice guys. So yeah, shout out to him if you're listening to this. Again, I doubt it, but hey, you never know. Okay. So after, like, hanging around Artist Alley for, like, an hour or two, I didn't see any, like, new people really filtering in at all. And I was like, okay, alright, I gotta work up the guts to, like, meet some actors, because that's the main reason we're all here, I imagine, right? Or at least most of us. So I went into this with this philosophy. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go for whoever has the shortest lines. That's who I'm gonna. I'm not gonna be picky. I'm just gonna go for whoever. So I'm looking around, seeing who's all there, who's got a decently short line, if anybody. Right? I don't have the balls to get in Walter Jones's line, because he's the guy I'm most nervous about meeting. Because for those who don't know, Walter Jones plays Zack in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, or played, I should say. And that dude is my childhood hero, Zack. In fact, he's like one of my favorite characters, like, ever in fiction. Like, I love that guy. that dude did a lot for me growing up. So, and this is my thinking. Like, I'm sure a lot of other people be like, oh, what's the problem? You know, he's probably nice. Just go up, say hi. Me, the way my brain is processing this, I'm like, how does one just walk up to their hero and just be like, yo, man, what up? Like, no, like,
Yeah.
By doing that literally.
like, that's like, in my mind, that's disrespectful, you know? So, like, no, I don't have the balls for that. Like, I just, alter. Like, and I'm sure I'm way overthinking it. I'm sure, like, if any, like, Ranger actors or for some reason are listening to this, I doubt it, but, like, maybe. But I'm sure they're probably thinking, like, no, dude, we're all chill, like, whatever, just say hi. Like, and you know what, you're all very nice. I appreciate that thought, but, like, that's not how anxiety brain works, okay? Like, sorry. So... yeah, exactly, Alex. That's the guy, right? So I'm like, you know what? If I can work up the gutspa, I'll make Walter Jones like. I will visit him if I can work it up, but like otherwise, I don't know. We'll see. So I'm looking around. By the way, speaking of guests, I might as well note this now. 2 of the special guests they had there, because they actually did have some Japanese actors there at this PMC. And they actually had a pretty good selection of people there, too. Like, they had some of the more popular actors. And this is not me, like, saying these actors don't matter, or they're not cool, or whatever. No, they're all very nice. They're all popular. They're all iconic Rangers in their own way. Alright. However, there are 2 specific guests in particular who were there who completely overshadowed literally everybody in that con. And I don't think PMC quite understood how popular they were because their staff was not prepared for just how many freaking people were there for these 2. And as soon as I say their names, everyone's going to instantly know. Those 2 characters being Tsukasa from Kamen Rider Decade and Captain Marvelous from Gokaiger. AKA 2 of the most popular Toku actors, period, / characters, like, ever, of all time. Whether you like those characters or not, their popularity is, like, JDF level, okay? Like, practically. And needless to say, the line that was for those 2 was huge. I'm talking, like, it was big throughout, like, the whole event. But, like, day 2 especially, the line was so big that they ended up, like, completely cutting off, like, a whole quarter of the floor. It was insanity how much people were there to see those 2. There were so many Decade cosplayers. There were so many Gokai Red cosplayers who were there. And not even just, like, them in suit. Like, them in their Ranger / Rider form. Like, that you could see. No, there were people dressed up in their civilian clothes who were there to see them, like, you know? Okay, like, so many people were there for those 2. And, like, it ended up pushing, like, the scheduling for other stuff back. Like, because, like, those 2 also had photo ops as well. The lines for those photo ops were so big that all the other photo ops afterwards got pushed back because of just how many people were there. Marvelous civilian wear was better than a suit. You know what? I could see that. He had that drip. But yeah, no, people very much, like, PMC very much was probably not expecting that kind of turnout. Like, yeah, no. I did get a photo op with Tsukasa. I could not afford one for Marvelous. Otherwise I would have, but he was too expensive, unfortunately. I didn't have the budget. Which, by the way, for long-time viewers, or listeners, or even people who even remotely know anything about me, you might be thinking, Tsukasa, don't you, like, hate that character? Yes! That's exactly why I took that photo!
It's hate fuck.
No, it is not fuck. No. No. No.
It's a hate relationship.
Sure. Why not?
You didn't actually tell him you hated his character, did you?
No, because like the thing is, and I get it. When it came to the photo ops, you didn't really have much time to mingle with the actors. Like,
Right.
it was literally walk in, do your pose, take the photo, say thanks, leave. Like, they really wanted to get you out of there. And again, I get it, because things were running behind, right? So I completely understand. So, like, I shared, like, one sentence with the dude, okay? And thankfully he was cool with me walking up and being like, hey dude, do you mind if like we pose up like we're about to fight each other? And he was like, yeah, sure. Like, he didn't question it. He was just like, alright. Like,
I'm sure he's been questioned to do even stranger poses. And hey, you want to pose for a fight?
yeah, probably. I wouldn't doubt it. That said, though, had we had like a minute or two more to just talk, I probably would have told him, like, look, dude, it's like an in-joke that, like, you're my arch nemesis. Like, can we, like, do a thing, you know? Like, I probably would have told him that much, but, like, I wouldn't have been like, your character sucks and I hate you. Like, no,
That
I
would have
wouldn't
been a
have done
good
that.
way to sort of that'd be a good way to sort of, like, bring it up, because it is kind of funny, in a way.
Yeah, like,
I'm.
go
yeah,
on,
but
sorry.
then he'd be like, I'm 7 timelines ahead of you.
Probably, yeah.
I assume
But,
he had a translator person with him to help with communication.
No, he knew English.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, no, like, now, granted, again, we only shared, like, 2 sentences.
Yeah.
But, like, he did speak English to me. Like, I was, like, he was like, oh, yeah, you want to do a fighting pose? And I was like, yes, I do. And he was like, okay. And then, like, yeah, we did it. So, like, he must know some English, at the very, you know? So, if he's at the next show, assuming the line isn't insanity, I might just get in the line again and just be like, hey, bro, do you remember me wanting to fight you that one time? Like, just to see. But yeah, so I know he knows some English. I don't know about all the other actors who were there, but I imagine they probably did have translators, like, on standby, you know? But yeah, so yeah, that line completely eclipsed everybody, like, holy crap. So, okay, so, anyone want to guess which actor I ended up, like, gunning for first? Like, obviously you guys are able to cheat because I posted the photo, but like,
Heckle.
he was there, but sadly his lines were too long, I could not get to him.
I disown you.
Damn, okay, sorry, bro.
I'm trying to think of what stood out to me. Right now, the only one that comes to mind is Joel.
He was an early one, he was not the first, though.
Okay.
Ryoto Ozawa used a translator 2 years ago. Yeah, he probably still does now then, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So, okay, the first person, and sorry, I had to take a drink there because my throat's getting dry. By the way, when it comes to me talking about these actors and the conversations I had, I'm again going to be paraphrasing what our conversations were. So, like, for the sake of time and also because I don't remember the exact words that were exchanged. So, again, if any of the actors are somehow listening to this, if you feel like I've misrepresented your words, my apologies. Not my intent. I'm not trying to make you look bad, like, at all. Next time we meet, you can give me a wedgie and penance. How about that? Anyway. Frickin'... So the first person I go to is Peter Sudarso, who, for those who don't know, he was sued for libel. I hope not. God, I don't have money, bro. Not after that con. Friggin'... If you don't know, Peter Sudarso is actually 2 different Rangers. He was Preston, the Blue Ranger in Ninja Steel. And he was Marv in Hyperforce, the Red Ranger. Ryo, who did you like better, Preston or Marv? I'm curious.
Which one was Marvin?
Hyperforce, Red Ranger.
Force.
The roleplay one. Remember how he
I
was?
know. I'm thinking.
Yeah.
What was the first one?
Preston,
Blue
Ninja Steel
Ranger.
Blue. He was the magician.
Yeah, I remember, and he took that fucking shortcut at one point.
Yeah.
They have actual real magic, and I learned nothing from this, really. I think I liked Marv better, but that has more to do with the jokes and how inconsistent he was. If we're talking, like, as which was a better character, it's gotta be Ninja Steel. Marv, I have completely forgotten my character motivation. Then his last name, whatever it fucking was.
I named my character Marv after Captain Marvelous, who is an upright hero who I wish to be like. Tell me where the bomb is!
Bro, he had none of Marvelous's, like, style, suaveness, his ingenuity, his cunning. And halfway through, he just kind of threw his arms up and just started screaming at people and acting erratic.
But it was fun.
Mostly because of the jokes.
I love Hyperforce, by the way, for those who don't know. Like,
Jack, you framed me. You're the reason I lost my badge. No, I didn't. He is, like, perfectly firm on this, the entire thing. Later on, okay, now plant the gun on the mutant. It's like, wait.
hold up.
I don't care if it was like a blink and you miss it joke. It's like, hold on. So is Marv having a mental breakdown because this shit's just been going on?
Yeah. Like, but yeah, no, Hyperforce is my third favorite season, for those who don't know. But anyway.
Hyperforce would have been so good with a better GM.
Probably,
just let that blonde dude do it the whole time.
Right. So, anyway.
You actually get to win, Rangers.
So, Peter Sidarso, he kind of took me off guard, I'm not gonna lie. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. Because I went up to him, I said hi, he shook my hand, and he was like, oh, hey, buddy. And I'm not kidding. He started talking to me like we had been friends for like 5 years. Like, and I'm like, okay. Like, and I mean that in a good way. He was very nice, he was very polite, he was very welcoming. But like, it helped to relieve a lot of the stress. I think he could probably tell that I was nervous, right? Because like, I wouldn't doubt if on my face I was just like having like an oh god like type deal, right? And points to him too, because like he was carrying the conversation for like the most of it, the one that we had. So like he was like, oh, you know, how long have you been with the franchise? And I was like, oh, I've watched since I was born, like, and I've seen the whole show like twice over minimum. And he was like, oh, that's really cool, bro. And so we were just talking about various little things. And and I thought this was a little funny. He was like, I still need to take a certain somebody through the show, and he like looked at his wife. Or at least I assume that's his wife. I could be wrong. Could just be like his girlfriend. If I got the title wrong, my apologies.
Sounds like a fucking casual, whoever she is.
Dang, dude.
Yeah, it's, she's his girl wife.
Wife friend. But yeah, no, he was a cool dude. We just kind of talked about little bits and things, and like he was very reassuring, and he even and I did just tell him, I was like, yeah, this is my first PMC, and like I'm not gonna lie, my nerves are like going really bad right now because like I'm just trying to like, this is not my element, right? I'm not used to doing stuff like this. And yeah, he was just like, no, dude, it's cool. Us Ranger family, man, we're very inviting. We're all very nice, you know. You just walk up, say hi, like you won't regret it, bro. And so like, yeah, I did the judgment game with him, and the selfie he took, because he actually did want to make it like a selfie, so he like took my phone. And I was like, cool, whatever. I liked the little reaction he gave because he got guilty. So he was like, what the fuck? And you probably would have maybe got along with him more than me, Ryan. If you and again, I always preface this just in case. I'm not putting anyone on blast, okay? Like that. This is not what I'm trying to do. But like, I assume he was a pretty devout Christian. I assume because like
Okay.
not only was he wearing like a cross necklace, right?
Yeah.
But like as I was getting ready to go, I told him, I was like, oh, thank you so much. You were very nice. I'm feeling a lot better. He said something akin to like, oh, God bless you. Go on your day, have fun. And I'm like, okay,
Sure.
cool. So like,
And he looked at you and said, "I'm already spoken for, though."
yeah, bro. Yeah, that's what he was thinking for sure. I'm sure, bro. Which, by the way, it wouldn't surprise me if he was, because like there are a few actors who I know are like religious, like Brennan Mejia, for example, has talked about like his religion on his YouTube channel before, for example, right?
Sure.
And again, that's not me like putting anyone on blast. I have nothing against any religion out there. It's just a thing. Okay. So, yeah, that's not being like, oh, how dare, like, no, it's not, no. So next up, I walked up to David De La Torre, who I probably am not saying his name correctly at all. He did RJ in Jungle Fury, also known as the Purple Ranger. Okay. Because that dude was my spirit animal. Yeah. No, see, I asked him about the hands thing. Because for those who don't know, and Ryo can confirm, I'm barely exaggerating. In like almost every scene with RJ, he's like always doing like this thing with his hands. Like constantly.
He's always like waving them around, like kind of oddly.
Yeah.
I mean, I admit, I do that when I talk to certain people and I'm really fucking pissed, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't do that in normal conversation. It's a little odd.
Yeah, like no, he's just always doing this thing with his hands. So I was like, dude, what was with the hands thing? I gotta know. According to him, the answer's kind of underwhelming. But like, according to him, he was like, oh no, that's just RJ. Like, he does that whenever he's trying to like figure things out. And I'm like, RJ must be confused very often, then, dude. Like, freaking
Constantly, in fact.
Like, but no, it was fine. We took a photo. He let me wear the helmet, which I thought was nice of him. Or not wear it, but hold it, I should say. My bad.
If you get your fucking dandruff in my helmet.
Yeah, bro. But yeah, he was nice. After him, I went up to Keith Robinson, who played Joel in Lightspeed.
Hell yeah.
And because I knew I wanted at least one Lightspeed actor. All right, so. And Joel was actually my favorite character in Lightspeed Rescue, for those who don't know.
Good choice.
Well, like when he fucked Poseidon's daughter.
No, that was Blue who did that.
Oh,
Joel was green.
Oh, the psychic, the empath.
No, that's Time Force you're thinking of.
Oh, shit, you're right.
Joel was the guy with
no.
the cowboy hat who was
The
always
dude-
trying to get a girlfriend.
Yeah. And he was always up to like some mischief because he really wanted that one chick.
So
Yeah.
I was thinking of the right guy, but I got the fucking, like, what they did mixed up. That's where I went wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
Didn't he end up dating, like, one of the villains near the end, and then it's like, hey, something's happening. Oh, shoot, not again.
No, I don't think so. I think you're thinking of Time Force again.
Right?
I do
But,
recall the Blue Ranger chat having some sort of thing with like some mermaid.
Yeah, that was Poseidon's daughter. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, at the end, wasn't he, like, with his girlfriend at the time, and then the buzzer goes off, or was that the crossover?
Yeah, that was the very end because he had finally gotten with the girl he was chasing after.
Yeah,
And
it's all
so-
blending together.
yeah, so. But yeah, no, I said hi to him. And honestly, I wouldn't doubt like if I weirded him out a little bit because like me and him talked about Joel, and like I wasn't lying when I say this because like one of the things I like about Joel is he has a very infectious smile. Like whenever like there was a scene like whenever there was a scene of like Joel getting up to some mischief and he had like that big like Cheshire cat like freaking grin on his face.
Cheshire.
It always makes me laugh. Like always. And so I told him that. I was like, bro, you have a very infectious smile. And he was like, oh, well, thanks. Like, so,
Oh, 5 feet.
yeah, probably. I wouldn't doubt it. but like, so sorry if I weirded you out there, bro. My bad. Yeah, I took a picture with him. And then the final person I met for day one. Alex found a freaking screen cap of the smile. God.
It's kind of funny because it's got the shadow like in between his face too, so like it almost looks a little.
Because they're in the base at the time, yeah.
Did he wear that hat there?
He did not wear the hat, sadly. That would have been great if he did, but he did not wear the hat.
Alex,
So-
how do you have all these queued up?
Alex be typing, okay? But, so the last person I visited, and I knew I had to visit this guy just for my buddy Troy. And it also was good timing at the time as well, because he had like 2 people at his booth at the time, so I was like, alright, we're gonna do this. Selwyn Ward, I think I'm pronouncing his name correctly. Also known as TJ. Also known as Turbo Red and Space Blue. So I was like, I gotta say hi to him from my buddy Troy. And plus 2, TJ is my favorite Red Ranger. He is.
He was a really good replacement for Tommy Turbo.
He was, yeah.
Because, like, replacing Tommy, since he's, like, the Power Ranger, that's a big, shoes to fill. And he
Oh, yeah, no,
did a great
absolutely.
job.
He was almost
Absolutely.
cooked into a pizza.
Yeah. So, yeah. He did it a little differently, and I think it was because he might have been getting ready to go to, like, a panel or something, I'm not sure, but, like, we did the photo first, right? And then he, like, took me aside to, like, talk for, like, a minute or 2. And he was also very nice. He also led the conversation for the most part, and, like, for example, he asked, like, do you have a favorite episode? And I was like, yeah, actually, and I told him about, and it is my favorite episode of Turbo, and it's also the one that made TJ my favorite Red Ranger, and it's actually an episode that's, like, close to the end of the season. It's the episode where TJ is the only dude who cuts Bulk and Skull a break.
Oh yeah, they're all at the friggin' juice bar, and he's like, we couldn't have done this without Bulk and Skull.
Yeah, like, because,
I
like,
it,
for those who don't know, that episode is where Bulk and Skull get framed for stealing packages from people. And everyone's quick to blame them because, they... Go on, sorry.
They were hooligans, and this is after they more or less, like, tried to start turning things around, too.
Right. This is after they, like, try to become cops and stuff, right? And TJ's the only dude who's like, okay, Bulk and Skull are not that bad. So... And he's, like, the guy who defends them and, like, helps them out in catching the real thief. And it, of course, turns out to be a monster. As you do, right? But yeah, no, like, the best... It's one of my favorite scenes in Rangers, too, where, like, it's towards the end, where, like, even though Bulk and Skull, like, have proof that it wasn't them, their employer is still like, nah, I don't believe it, I'm gonna get rid of you guys. TJ has all the Rangers morph and teleport in and personally be like, no, these guys are innocent, we fought the monster who was stealing your stuff. Cut them some slack. That was so cool. Like, such a good
literally
scene.
the only one
Yeah, he's the only dude who ever did anything like that.
in any season ever.
Yeah.
It's fucked up.
Right. Mighty negotiation, intimidate plus 30. Like,
He is probably one of the most changed actors from his debut to modern day, though.
mhm.
Like, when you first showed me him, I couldn't believe it. There's no way that's the same fucking guy. What the hell?
But it is him, yeah. It's been like almost 30 years, bro.
I know, but it's like his facial structure looks like it changed. Just a little hair and the glasses just makes it look so fucking different.
Wait, glasses, the fuck?
Horde, first Black Leader of the Power Rangers.
No, you got him mixed up. That's Andre. I met him late. You're getting to the spoilers. No. Sailor Ward's a different photo.
Shit, I'm getting mixed up.
Yeah, you are. but no, the quote is yeah, from Andre. But he is in fact the first black leader of the Power Rangers, though. Salen Ward, he is. Which, by the way, is very cool. But yeah, that was. But do you need me to send you the photo of Salen Ward, Ryo?
Yeah, might as well.
All right, I'm gonna text it to you because of how I have my phone pulled up. So like, hold on.
Yeah, text.
I
We
know,
have each
right?
other's numbers if you didn't know, listeners.
Yeah, we're besties. We share the same bathroom.
Use
If you'd
my
like to.
bathroom, I'll destroy you.
I'll need it for a good several hours during the day,
Won't Troy get jealous though?
Several hours.
but I like to take my time.
Fuck.
Why is it? There it is. Okay.
Several hours in one day.
Yeah. But yeah, there you go, Ryo. You should have it now.
I'm waiting. And I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
He did post it on Discord.
Yeah, like a day or two ago. I'm not scrolling up.
More like a week ago, but you know.
Even worse. You expect me to scroll that far? Fuck that.
You expect me to pay attention,
I didn't want spoilers on like some people.
right?
I still haven't gotten it. It's gonna pop in like 5 minutes later.
Probably. Okay, so let's go to day 2 now. Actually, wait, no, not day 2. There was one part that I forgot. So photo ops. I did 3 of them. Day 1, So here's the thing. For those 3, I left it up to a vote between friends of mine, who I would get. I wasn't surprised that a lot of people voted for Tsukasa because that's like the best shitpost you could get out of me, right? I was surprised though about the other 2 winners. And the winner of this one was Kelson Henderson. And for those who don't know, that is Boom from SPD, and also Mick from Ninja Steel, and also Norg from Operation Overdrive, and a whole bunch of other characters. He's been in a whole bunch of seasons, and he's always a delight. Honestly, he's great. But like I said when it came to the photo ops, it wasn't really much time to talk. It was just like, hi, how are you? Okay, dude, photo, leave. But again, I'm just gonna note who I got. So yeah, Kelson Henderson, day 1. Day 2 was Tsukasa. Just so you know.
Oh, this guy's
Alright.
aging well.
Kelson? Yeah. Or Salen Ward.
The one you sent me.
Salen Ward, yeah, okay. Yeah, he's Asian just fine, yeah.
It looks like he could still, you know, hit somebody.
I mean, he
Without
probably
breaking
could.
his arm.
Like if he wanted to, he probably could pop my head, I'm not gonna lie. But like,
Yeah, in the picture, he looks in pretty good shape.
yeah. So. Troy, you should meet him sometime.
I would love to.
Did
And
you
you should
post
walk
the?
up and... Go on, sorry.
I was saying, did you post the Tsukasa pic in the thread?
I think I did? I might not have. You know, I'm just gonna do it right now. I'm just gonna post the 3 photo shoots I did. I could have swore that I did put them in the chat, though.
I don't.
Maybe I didn't.
I'm not really good at recognizing a lot of these actors, so you probably did, and I didn't catch it.
But... Alright, so hold on.
Like when
This
you,
will be like 1 minute.
yeah, like obviously, I was able to recognize some of them, but it took, like Joel, for example, it took me a second to like, wait, he looks really familiar. Like, oh, is that Joel? It's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. You're like, oh, is that Joel? Oh my gosh, bro. Like,
It made me hopeful, but
there we go. They should be in general chat. All 3 of them.
okay.
But,
Oh yeah. Oh
So-
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Alright, so day 2. Day 2 was even more packed than day 1. It was crazy. I couldn't believe it, honestly. Like, I thought day 1 was big. No, day 2 was big, and it was the biggest day of the con. Like that, like, not to the point that, like, you couldn't move or anything like that, but noticeably very big crowd. Okay? Like, so, again, I'm spending most of my time in Artist Alley because I want to, like, interact with fans, talk to them about stuff, you know. Until eventually I work up the gutspa to go over to Actor Lane and freaking talk with them. But that's a great Tsukasa picture. Thank you, Alex. But yeah, so I'm talking with people. I'm going. My favorite cosplayer of this day. Because like for day 1, my favorite was the Marine guy who was Aruto. My favorite for this day is there was one guy cosplaying as Narutaki, also from Kamen Rider Decade. And for those who don't know, Narutaki is this old man who just randomly shows up to like blame Decade for literally everything. And what makes him really funny is that the show portrays him as like crazy and like not knowing what he's talking about, but yet he's right, like all the time, and it's kind of crazy. But
you can also like hijack Sentai trains.
Yeah, somehow, like, but they hated him because he spoke the yeah, pretty much. But yeah, no, he had a really, but that cosplayer had a really cool getup. I did the judgment game with him. I never learned his name though, but shout out to him. Anyway, first actor I go over to though is Chance Perez, aka Hobby from Dino Fury, aka the dude who always got the short end of the stick in that season, always. I said hi to him. So for those who don't know, when it comes to stuff like this, okay, I'm not fully carrying the momentum from the past 2 days. I do like a little reset with every 24 hours, okay? So, like, my nerves are still kind of going by a good bit. But Chance is the first one that has a line available, so I'm like, alright, we're doing this. I talked to him. He's a nice guy. And I asked him specifically, because I remember Ryo, I think it was you. Maybe I'm misremembering, but I remember you were like...
Ask him why the family hated him for no reason.
I didn't ask him that. but
ask him why he still has his arm.
Bro, I thought you lost your arm. What the hell?
Was it staged?
No. Fake. But no. It is related to the arm, though. I don't know what the proper word would be. I guess you were, like, inquiring as to, like, how they filmed that whole thing, right? So, I guess that's the best way I could think to phrase it. So I asked him, I was like, hey, I think it was you. I might not remember properly. It was somebody. I don't remember who. But, so I asked him, I was like, hey, when it came to, like, the whole losing your arm thing, so, like, did they, like, tell you to just tuck your arm behind your back and, like, they just filmed around you, or, like, did they, like, edit it out, or, like, what? He was like, yeah, no, they just had me tuck my arm behind my back. And, I was like, okay, well, like, how did you do that with, like, reshoots and stuff? Because, like, I can't imagine, like, you just did it in one go. And he was like, oh, no, I had my arm, like, and he, like, basically put his arm behind his back, but then he, like, grabbed, like, the belt loop of his hip to keep it there. And he was like, yeah, and I just had to stay like that for like a half hour, and I'm like, ow, like what?
No,
like...
and that's when you blink a few times and go, oh my god, what happened to your arm?
Oh my god, your arm's back. Yeah, he was nice. I got a photo with him. Let's see, who was next? By the way, something else I want to note about the people running the booths, okay? Because as I'm scrolling through these photos, they're having just as much fun at this con as all the regular goers are. Okay, so like, there was one booth there that was run by a guy who was doing a shooting gallery, actually, where he set it up to where like he gave you like a Nerf gun, and if you like hit all the targets, you would get a prize. I didn't play because like that actually had a pretty decently long line, so I didn't do it. But I remember there was one time where I think it was like on my way, I was going to the bathroom, right? I'm walking down that aisle, and I guess nobody was playing the game at the time, so him and this one girl were just shooting each other with the Nerf guns. It was pretty funny. But yeah, that's also what's cool too. And I guess I might as well note it now. Oh, sorry, excuse me. Sorry about that. Had to clear my sinuses real quick. That's what also like really helped with the nerves throughout this whole time. Was that? Here's the thing. Most of these actors are also fans. Well, especially at this point, because of how long the franchise has been going. Like ever since you hit like once you hit the Neo Saban era, like so Samurai and onward, right? The actors are our age now, you know? They grew up with Rangers just like we did. They are fans. So like when it came to like the final like hour or two of every day, there were a good number of the actors who would like shut their booths down and they would just walk around as con goers. And they would just like mingle with people or like buy merch or stuff like that, you know? And it was really cool to see. It was. And again, it just added more to the positive vibes and to the whole feeling welcome experience and whatnot. Like, I believe this was day 2. I could be misremembering, but I'm like 90% sure that it was day 2. Brennan Mejia, who plays Tyler, aka Red Ranger in Dino Charge, he was hanging around, I believe it was the 3-0 booth, like looking at merch. And one guy, this was a pretty funny prank. I wish he had prepped me for it so I could have had my phone ready, but he didn't. One guy walked up to him and he's like, "Hey, are you Brennan?" And he's like, "Yeah, what's up?" And he's like, "Hey, can you do me a favor real quick?" And he's like, "Depends, what is it?" And he was like, "You see that guy sitting at the wall over there?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's a good buddy of mine. Can you like just like run up to him, like shake his hands, and then like just run off and like give no context?" And Brendan was like, and Brendan was like, "Yeah, bro, I got you." And he did it. Like, he just ran over, shook his hand, and then ran off. And like the dude whose hand he shook was just like stunned, like, what the fuck just happened? Like it was funny. Like, I like how Alex is like providing photos for people who don't have contact. Like, you're doing good work, Alex. Keep it up.
You should have told them to just run up to somebody, take their coat, throw it on the ground, and then run off.
I know, right? So, next person I visited was Jason Chan, aka Cam, from Ninja Storm. Also known as the Green Samurai Ranger in that season. Yeah. This was actually his first PMC, surprisingly. And I guess that he was, like, he had gotten more than he bargained for based on what he told me. Maybe I'm wrong. And what kind of signaled that to me is, like, when me and him were talking about, like, you know, the show and, like, him. He was like, "Hey, good to see you again." And I'm like, "Again? This is my first time up here, bro." And he's like, "Wait, really? I could have swore I saw you earlier." And I'm like, "You probably saw me walking around." I mean, he's like, "Huh, okay." And I'm like, so yeah, we just had like a little combo. We took a photo. It's all good. And then after him, let's see. By the way, another shout out to cosplayers here real quick as I'm scrolling through. So you might be thinking, oh, okay, it's Toku cosplay, so like they're just wearing like suits from the shows, right? Not true, actually. Some people went all out and did like original designs. Or they did like designs from the comics that don't have physical suits or stuff like that. Like they built their stuff from the ground up. And it was really cool and impressive to look at, and I really wanted to highlight the people who did stuff like that. Because they went the extra mile, man. It was actually really dope. Like, shout out to you guys, because like, this is part of the reason I could never get into cosplay, me personally, because like this much like prep, I do not have the time, the patience, or the money for this shit. Like one dude who was wearing like his own custom like Green Ranger getup, right? Someone else asked him like, "Hey man, how long did your costume take?" And I believe he said like, "Oh, it took me like 6 months." And I'm like, dude, like I do not have that kind of patience. No, not at all, bro. You versus the Green Samurai. I just told you not to worry about. Yeah, bro. Alex is now in Power Ranger memes. Oh no. So after him was, I believe you say his name, Azim Risk. I am probably mispronouncing that like super badly, and I apologize if that is the case. But for those who don't know who Azim is, he is Jake from Megaforce, aka the Black Ranger from that season, or the Green Ranger from Super Megaforce. That's a great photo of him. And Jake was my guy. And like Javi, he always got the short end of the stick on everything. But I really liked his character. And he surprised me actually when I walked up to his booth, because like I knew he had a booth, but I hadn't seen him at it for a while. Right? So I just kind of walked up to it because I saw like his head poking out from the crowd. I walk over, and he's actually in full Ranger gear. He is dressed as the Black Megaforce Ranger. I was not expecting that. But yeah, he did that just for fans, which is so cool. And, like, outside of Peter, he was probably the most talkative of all the actors so far. He was a very nice guy, very welcoming. We talked about, you know, the show and all that, and, I told him about how Jake was my guy, because, like, I'm a big fan of characters with, like, high energy, right? And Jake has that. And, like, big charisma and stuff like that. And he was like, hey, yeah, I'm glad I was able to do that, because, like, you know, we were told the show was made for 5-year-olds, and I wanted to, like, be this larger-in-life guy that kids could, you know, be appealed to. And then I asked him if he ever noticed that, like, everybody was always dogging on Jake for, like, no reason throughout that show, right? And he was like, yeah, I noticed. So, yeah, no, it's not a secret. But yeah, he also, like Peter did, he also gave me some words of encouragement, and, like, he was a very nice guy. Shout out to him. No hate. Yeah, that was a campaign that a lot of Ranger actors were a part of back in the day. It was pretty cool of them. Let's see. Who is next? Oh, this technically was not a booth meet, but it was someone I just kind of happened to run into while walking around the merchandise booths. So Andre the Black Nerd was there. And for those who don't know, he is a Power Ranger. He played Eddie, the Blue Ranger, in Hyperforce. And he is also my favorite Blue Ranger, by the way. I'm sorry, Troy.
Is it because he constantly got put down super hard, even by himself?
I mean, that's part of it, but also because his antics were, like, amazing.
It's okay, even if you're an Alpha 5 unit, I'll still fuck you. The desperation.
That whole messed up situation. But yeah, he was there with a friend of his. I think he was only there on day 2, or at least that's the only time I saw him. But yeah, they were like browsing through like retro merch, and so I just kind of walked. I was like, "Hey, are you Andre?" And he's like, "I am." And I'm like, "Oh, cool. You know, love your stuff." And I was like, "Okay, don't tell nobody. But you're my favorite Blue Ranger." And he was like, "All right, got it. I ain't gonna tell nobody." Like, he went with it. And so, like, I asked him, I was like, do you mind if I get a selfie with you? And he's like, yeah, whatever. And so, like, we took it. And yeah, he was nice. Let's see. Final person. There we go. That's who I thought it was. I just wanted to make sure. Okay, final person I went to for day 2 was Colby Strong, also known as Blaze in Beast Morphers. And he is a Power Ranger technically. So, for those who don't know, Power Rangers has this subset of like heroes where like they are, for all intents and purposes, Power Rangers, but like they don't count for like arbitrary reasons, right?
Or the name is just never used for them, despite wearing literally the same suits.
Yeah. So, like, for example, the Magna Defender in Lost Galaxy, even though he is, like, literally their 6th Ranger, he is technically not a Power Ranger. Okay? You know? So, stuff like that. Right? And Blaze counts as that. He's like the Dark Ranger of the show. But he's, like, technically not a Power Ranger because, shut up, he isn't, apparently. So, but yeah, he's the last one I decided to go up to. He's a cool dude. I learned from him that he really actually liked playing a bad guy. And he also watched the source material, Go Busters. And he really liked Enter, the character who Blaze is based off of in that. And I even asked him, I was like, so, you know, like, red or yellow, which color scheme do you like better? And he's like, oh, red for sure. By the way, bro is tall. I was not expecting him to be as tall as he was, I ain't gonna lie. But, like, he had a whole head on me, alright? Like, but yeah, no, he was cool, dude. I also learned, because, like, in Season 2, when he gets, like, the yellow get-up, and he gets, like, that little fluff of, like, Emperor Penguin, like, hair, right? I asked him, like, so did they, like, paint that little section of your hair, like, yellow, like, every shoot, or, like, did they just, like, give you an extension? And he was like, oh, no, that's an extension. And they actually use, like, some special, like, adhesive to put it on you, and then, like, they use a remover to take it off. And like, I joked with him, I was like, so what, they didn't just, like, rip it off like a Band-Aid every day? Like, ah, you know, like, but... And he was like, nah, bro, they're safer about that. And I'm like, oh, okay, good. So yeah, he's a nice guy. And then as for the photo op for day 2, that was when I did Tsukasa. I think I said that already, but just in case I didn't. So that one, and yeah, Tsukasa was interesting because a lot of people were determined to get specific photos with him for various different things. The Narutaki guy was there, and he obviously did one, and like, after the photo shoots with him were done, people actually did gather around and like share their Polaroids, and like, they geeked out and stuff. It was cool. So moving on to day 3. There's still a lot of great cosplayers going around. Like, one dude was dressed as Spawn. There was another guy who did the Black Die Ranger from the comics. That was pretty cool. There was one guy who I loved this idea. He was the Frog Ninja, like the ninja form that Adam gets in season 3.
Oh yeah.
But he replaced the mask with an actual frog head. I thought that was really funny. But and you know, I'll admit it's totally biased. But at least I'm pretty sure this guy was day 3. I could be wrong. But I'm like 70% sure this was day 3. My favorite cosplayer of there was a dude who did Toei Spider-Man. So that, like, he was cool. But again, there were other people there who were really cool. Like, there was a dude who was dressed like Eric from Time Force. There was a guy who was Garo. There was a dude who was dressed like Ash Ketchum. And one dude who caught a lot of people's attention, he was dressed as Samurai Red. And Ryo, do you remember the Fire Smasher?
Yeah, that really stupidly oversized sword.
Yeah, that dude made a replica of the Fire Smasher, and he was carrying it around. Like,
that's when you rib him and go overcompensating for something, eh, buddy?
No, that was, like, it was an impressive prop, I will not lie. It was cool.
I'm saying Samurai Red had a small dick.
No, that's somebody else who we're going to talk about in a minute.
No, he had a micro. That's different.
Alex is like, slow down, I need to get all these photos.
Yeah, though.
But,
He was not that buff.
so, day 3. Day 3 is the smallest day of all of them, which is understandable. People are spent, time's winding down. I get it. This is also where some of the issues that people had with this event kind of arise. So, apparently, and again, I didn't notice because I wasn't really doing panels all that much. I went to like a couple, which, for those who want to know, I went to the Massiveverse panel. I went to the fan films panel, and I went to like one other one. I went to the White Dragon panel. I went to that one too. Those are the 3 I went to. Mainly just to kill time, because nothing else interesting was happening at the time that those were going on. Which, by the way, I probably should mention that before I do day 3, even though I did technically see them on all 3 days. 3 of the Massiveverse writers, Kyle Higgins, Ryan Parrott, and Melissa Flores. They had their own booth where they were selling comics, and they were also signing them and whatnot, and you could talk to them. I bought a few comics off them. They were nice enough to sign them. They were cool. For Melissa Flores, I basically just said, I really like Dead Lucky. I'm sad that it had to end. And she was like, oh, well, thank you so much. I tried hard on it. And that was about that for that interaction. Ryan Parrott. A lot of you are probably thinking, oh, you ripped into him, right? Like, no, I was civil. Because, like, here's the thing. I'm very up and down on Ryan Parrott's work with the franchise. I don't think he's just like a crap writer across the board. He does do good work. And I'm not lying when I say, like, all the crossovers he's written for Power Rangers are good. I've enjoyed them all. So, I told him, I was like, Day Zero Stan would have torn it. No, Day Zero Stan, no, did not do that. But no, I was like, all the Ranger crossovers you've done, man, A+. And he said, oh, thanks, bro. And, like, by the way, that was another combo I want to highlight real quick. There was one fan I talked to where we were talking the comics in the Massiveverse. And he was like, oh, what's your favorite of the comics? And I was like, Inferno Girl Red, why? And he was like, oh, yeah, that's a really good one. I like that one, too. And I was like, why? What's yours? And he's like, well, if not Inferno Girl Red, I really like Rogue Sun. And I was like, I didn't say anything, but I just kind of looked at him. I was like, really? That took me by surprise, because, like, okay, first and foremost, I'll make it known, Rogue Sun is not a story for me. It's not. It does not appeal to me. I don't like it. Okay. 2, it surprised me because this was the first guy I have ever heard liked Rogue Sun. Everyone else who I've talked to about Rogue Sun who even knows what it is, they're like, oh yeah, no, that story sucks. I don't like it. But, like, this one dude basically proved that, yeah, Rogue Sun has an audience. That's probably why that story is still going. Yeah, but Dead Lucky, like, ended for whatever reason, even though I really liked that one. But, so Ryan Parrott, I guess Rogue Sun, you're doing something right, because, like, yeah, you've got fans who are buying these books, like, so good job, I guess. And then last is Kyle Higgins, who, if you don't know who he is, he's also the original head writer of the Power Rangers comics, by the way. So you can thank him for, like, Shattered Grid and stuff like that. He's a pretty chill guy. I talked with him a little bit, and because they didn't do a Q&A at their panel, so I wanted to ask him a question. So one of the things about half the Massiveverse heroes, which is kind of weird, at least to me, so you know how, like, in Toku you have, like, a morphing call, so, like, it's morphin' time, the most iconic one, you know what I mean? You have that. For Massiveverse heroes, half of them have it, the other half don't. And it's a very weird decision to me, but that's how it is. So, Radiant Black, the hero that he writes for in the Massiveverse, Radiant Black does not have a morph call. So I asked him if and spoiler alert, Radiant Black has 2 users. It's supposed to be like a big twist, but I'm going to spoil it for you right here, sorry. But I asked him what would be the morphing call for Radiant Black, either user. And he thought for like a minute. He was like, okay, so for Nathan, it'd probably be something he thought was like profound. So he'd probably say something like stay radiant or whatever, something like that. And I was like, yeah, okay, makes sense. And then he was like, for Marshall, though, it'd probably be something more direct and crass. He'd probably say something like, fuck you, I'm Radiant Black. And that took me off guard. I thought it was funny as fuck. So, I also note this, too. Not just because it was a cool encounter I had, but I also note it because swinging back to Matthew, who I'm running into, him and TJ, I'm running into as we walk around, right? And we, like, update each other on stuff we've done and who we've talked to and stuff like that. He decided he wanted to try the Massiveverse out. So shortly after I had that combo with Kyle Higgins, he had walked up to the booth and he bought the first 3 volumes of Radiant Black. Got them signed. Right? And he showed me, he was like, hey, look, yeah, I got signed. Guess what he signed Volume 1 as? Just guess. Nothing? Okay, I'll tell you. He signed it with the message "Stay Radiant," and I'm like, okay, Kyle. Like, so I think I gave him some inspiration there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, or at least I hope I did. I mean, I'll take that, but anyway. So, okay, back to actors. Stay Radiant, no spoilers, yeah. So, first actor I walk up to, because he happened to be the most available one at the time, Brennan Mejia, who we've talked about a little bit. Very nice guy, very welcoming guy. And this was where I could tell I was getting a bit more comfortable, because I accidentally let a brand of my sarcastic humor slip through at one point.
Jeez, did you need a pair that big?
No. I didn't say that. So I walk up, and we shake hands. And I say, hi, I'm Stanley. And he was like, hi, I'm Brennan Mejia. And and I should not have said it, but I snapped back, like, no hesitation with, I figured.
Never would have guessed.
Like, and he was cool about it. He actually laughed. He was like, yeah. And he actually went with the joke. He was like, well, actually, I'm lying. I'm actually a stunt double. I'm actually just really good at cosplay. And I'm like, wow, you're really convincing. And he's like, yeah, thanks. I've been working on it. And so, like,
What the sign says.
right, but yeah, no, like, that was like, I was like, shit, real Stan slipped through. Oh no, like, but yeah, no, we had a little bit of, we talked about Tyler. I asked him about the, about me and Ryo's favorite episode, which is, Sink or Swim. Also infamously known as the Micro Dick Tyler episode. I didn't call it that to him, by the way, but I was not gonna risk that. But, I asked him if he remembered that episode. And he was like, yeah, and I actually have a funny story about it if you want to hear it. And I'm like, yeah, sure. So, he talked about how, because they had because for those who don't know, the premise of the episode is that, throughout the show, Tyler's been pining for Pink Ranger. I think her name is Shelby, if I remember correctly, right?
So?
Yeah, so, in order to, like, impress her, he, like, buys this, like, fancy coat, to, like, show off and, like, wear in front of her, right?
And she's like, ew.
Yeah, and it, like, doesn't work. Meanwhile, Prince Ivor,
Ivan.
or Ivan, the Knight of Xander, right? he also happens to buy that same jacket, and Shelby's like, "Ooh, it looks great on him," and Tyler's like, "What the hell?" you know? And
Context, he's genuinely a knight
yeah, he actually
Like-
is a knight.
from the 16th century and shit.
Yeah, like actually. And so Tyler gets jealous, and that sets off like basically this. It's not a bomber jacket. It's like this fancy like knight long coat. And so Tyler gets jealous, and like that starts like a dick waving contest between the two, pretty much like red and gold. And it's a fun episode. It is. And so his story was that obviously they had two different jackets because the two actors were different sizes, obviously, right? And he was like, so come the end of the show, they said we could take home like a set number of items, right? And he was like, and I really wanted that jacket. And unfortunately, the guy who played Ivan, my bad. I keep flashing back to Exilia 2, but he already called dibs on that jacket because apparently, towards the end of the show, they somehow lost the jacket that Ivan wore, but they still had the jacket that Tyler wore, and he took the jacket Tyler wore, and Brennan's like, "What the heck? That was my jacket!" Like, so it was pretty funny. We took a photo. I also learned he was a fan of Dragon Ball because he complimented my Capsule Corp hat that I was wearing. And so I asked him, I was like, okay, so who's your favorite character in Dragon Ball? And okay, again, this is not me putting Brendan Mejia on blast. Okay, this isn't that.
Depending on his
Well,
answer, I will.
Oh damn. Okay,
My favorite character is Chaozu.
I'm just gonna say what I was gonna say. He gives the most normie answer that I can think of. Okay, because he replies with Gohan, specifically Teen Gohan, and I'm like, so how do you feel about that, Ryan?
Brennan, if you're listening to this, you've been spared.
No,
Dang.
hold up.
That's a pretty fair answer.
Yeah, no.
Start of Cell Saga Gohan or like sadistic Gohan?
Do you really need to ask that question? I think we all know.
Yeah,
what
right.
Gohan I think we know what Gohan
Yeah.
is talking about.
Right.
Yeah, the pissy
So-
one.
So I was like, okay. So then I asked him, okay, well, did you see Superhero? What'd you think of it? And he was like, oh yeah, I liked it. And funnily enough, he pretty much said what I say about the movie, where he was like, I liked it, I just don't like that Gohan's had this arc like 3 times now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I agree. And I was like, so have you read the manga? And he was like, no, I haven't. And I was just like, okay, well, I'm not gonna spoil it for you then. And he was like, oh, okay, interesting. And so, you know, a short bit after we parted, yeah, he's a cool dude. He's a nerd like us. Pretty cool. After him was Angie Diaz, who played V in Mystic Force. She was nice. I asked her about the whole V hating Pink thing, and she was like, no, the character was written that way. I have nothing against Pink. You know, it's not a me thing. And I was like, okay, cool. She was cool. Moving next up, let me see. I'm scrolling through here. I think I know who's next, but I'm just trying to make sure. Yeah, okay. Here's a person that you all will probably not know who I'm talking about. But I realized that at around this time, so there was a specific like aisle for voice actors who had been in the franchise or are in other Toku stuff, right?
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I definitely want to get a photo with one voice actor, right? And I'm thinking about, and Ryan, you're gonna judge me for my choice here, by the way. So I'm torn between two people, and it's the fact that on day 3 that I'm wearing Ultraman gear that shifts my choice. So I chose Christopher Sean, who, for those who don't know, he voiced Ken, who is the main character in Ultraman Rising, which is actually a really good movie. I recommend it. But it was at first it was a choice between him and I hope I'm saying her name right. Mane Noige. And if you don't know who that is, say what, Ryan?
Yeah, I know who she is.
Yeah. For those who don't know who that is Mila from Tales of Exilio.
Yeah.
She was there.
Minai Noiji, I think her name is.
Mane Noige, yeah. Or I am bad with names. So yeah, Ryan, you can now judge me harshly.
How dare you? No.
But yeah, she was there. Christopher Sean is actually very nice, very charismatic. He's a cool dude. I walk up, and I was not expecting this, because, like, I'm wearing, again, I'm wearing Ultraman gear, which, by the way, I didn't know this about myself, but apparently I have really good taste in both hats and t-shirts, because, like, every day of this con, I got, like, a handful of people who were like, bro, sick hat, or bro, where'd you get that shirt, or stuff like that. And I would always just tell them, you know, but, and this was no exception, where I walk up to the booth and Christopher Sean's like, oh, dude, sick shirt, you've got all these kaiju on there, and he started naming all of them, like, by name. And I'm like, and again, this is, like, relaxed Stan slipping through. And I'm like, oh, and my reply, again, I probably shouldn't have been this forward, but I was. I was like, oh, so you fancy yourself an Ultra fan, huh? like I'm challenging him. And he was like, and he looks at me and he's like, bro, are you kidding? I spent 2 years binging Ultraman. And I'm like, whoa, really? And he's like, yes. And he, like, started going off. And I'm like, you know what? I respect it. I can't judge you for that. So yeah, it turns out that, like, he was an Ultra fan before he was Ken, which was cool. And, like, so I asked him, you know, what's your favorite Ultraman show? And he was like, honestly, I actually really like the classics. I'm kind of torn between the original and Ultra 7. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And he recognized the Blazer Brace and stuff. And so I posed up with a photo with him, and he was very nice, and, yeah. We talked about his character, Ken, for a little bit. Yeah, great guy. Liked him. Let's see, so... Here's the part... So, like, all this combined, you might have gotten from context, I'm starting to feel a little bit better about myself and, like, this whole situation that I'm in, right? And I'm in the middle of this, I'm walking around, I'm still taking photos with, like, cosplayers and stuff, and, you know, or I'm looking at more merch, all this other stuff. And then I walk by the corner that Walter Jones is in, and I notice he's only got about, like, 5 people in line at the current moment. Because I think he had, like, just gotten back from, like, a panel or something like that. I could be wrong, but I think that's what it was. And I take a deep breath, and I'm like, okay, Stan, we're gonna do this. I get in line, and I'm observing... I'm just observing the air of everything that's going on, right? Okay, so Walter Jones and Austin St. John, their booths are literally right next to each other, so they're interacting with fans at the same time, they're cracking jokes, they're inviting people in there. It's honestly like a party over at their little corner that they have, right? It's actually really cool. Like, and I know there's controversy around Austin St. John going on right now. Whether you like the guy or not, what he did at this con was cool of him, okay? If you're gonna hold disdain towards the guy, I get it. I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying the events as they occurred, okay? That's all I'm doing. So, again, I'm in line for Walter. There was one thing that was really cool about this, actually. So, one dude, he went up to Austin St. John's booth with his wife and his daughter. And I thought this was really cool. His daughter actually asked if she could dance with both of them. And they both said yes. And Austin St. John, he's actually got some moves, I'm not gonna lie. And Walter Jones, for the people who are like, oh, he still can't do the hip-hop keto. No, dude, Walter Jones still has moves, bro. He can still do it. Like, it was cool seeing him, like, dance around. And and, like, the crowd got into it. Like, they were, like, clapping and stuff. It was cool. And I want to note one thing here. Like, this wasn't the only time this happened. But the dad, okay, after his daughter had gotten done doing the dance and, like, they recorded it and stuff, he started talking to Austin St. John. I could only make out a little bit of what he was saying because of, like, the noise in the room and all that. But from what I could gather, and again, this is me guesstimating, he was talking about how, like, you know, Jason was his hero growing up, all that, which is, you know, a thing a lot of people. And this dude actually, like, broke down. He started crying. And Austin St. John, like, comforted him over it about, like, the whole situation and, like, all that, and was, like, saying he was proud of him and stuff like that. And, like, here's the thing. That wasn't the only instance of this. There were people at other booths who were, like, breaking down, who were, like, really, like, pouring their heart out, who were just showing their appreciation to, like, these people who played their heroes. And, like, it was so cool to see. And it was simultaneously heartwarming, but also made me kind of mad. And it made me mad because, like, I did my best to keep the thoughts out because I wanted to keep the positive vibes. But, like, I just couldn't help but think to myself, man, Hasbro really looked at all this positivity, all this, like, deep meaning about how this franchise has touched so many different people, like, different ages, different sizes, different races, different religions, different everything, different walks of life. They looked at all this and went, who cares about Power Rangers? Screw that. Fuck that show. You know, like, I got kind of mad. Like, and, like, just seeing all this stuff, all these people who were just celebrating this franchise, this fandom, and how important it was to their lives. Like, you can't... I don't know anybody who could look at all this and just be like, who cares? Or like, oh, that's not important. Or like, why should anyone give a shit about Power Rangers? You know what I mean? Like, this show is important. Whether you like the franchise or not. You know? Like, this has had a big impact on people, like, in general. Like, it was really eye-opening. It was. So that was very much an experience to have, for sure. And you could tell it just by talking to people, too. You didn't even need to be some big, like, dramatic thing, like what happened there. Like, yeah, you could just feel it, like, in the air, for sure. So yeah, Power Rangers is cool. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Like, you know. But so okay. Enough stalling. The line's slowly getting closer to Walter. And I'm freaking out. I'm freaking out in turn. I'm not gonna lie. I am having an anxiety attack internally. Like, I'm holding it together, but I'm like, oh my god, what do I say, what do I do? You know, like, my mind's racing. And to help keep myself grounded a little bit, I'm also texting friends of mine. Like, I basically send them all the texts of, guys, I'm in line for Walter Jones, and I'm freaking the fuck out, oh my god, you know? And a lot of my friends, thankfully, they're very understanding, and they're just like, no, Stan, you got this. Alex was there, yes. They're like, you can do it, bro. Keep at it. Don't check it out. You got this. You know? And it finally comes my time. And thankfully, so the Ryan might remember this old meme. I don't know if anyone else will remember it, but I'm pretty sure Ryan will. Thankfully, I didn't just break down into the joke we used to have, where I just like, where Walter just like says hi, and then I just go, oh, I love you. You know, like, no, that didn't happen. So, like, I keep it together. I'm like, hey, and I'm like, yo, I'm here to, you know, say hi and get a photo, and because, you know, you gotta speak your intent. Plus, there's a line, you can't, like, keep it up forever. And he's like, oh yeah, no problem, I got you, brother. And he kept his very jokey, very charismatic. This dude is basically being Zach. Like he was like, all right, I got this. I got a specific pose. You ready? And I'm like, sure, okay. And he was like, all right, stand right here. And he positioned me away from everybody in the corner, like as if I was in timeout. And he's like, all right, perfect. And I'm like, bro. Like, so, so yeah, we take the photo, and I was like, you know what, this is especially because at this point, again, there's the fear that this could be the final PMC, right? So I was like, you know what, he already like did this effort. He's right in front of you. Just say what you gotta say, Stan. And so I told him. I told him what I've told a lot of people. I was like, you know what, dude, I just want you to know, growing up, Zach was my hero. Again, this is me paraphrasing. I don't remember exactly what I said. I'm sure it was not anywhere near as eloquent. I'm sure. But I was like, you know, growing up, Zach was my hero. He was my inspiration. He's the guy who got me to, you know, put myself out there and, like, try to make friends and, like actually, like, try and find my people. Because, like, I was always inspired by how he had all this charisma and energy and, like, he was always there for the people he cared about. He was there for Billy, he was there for Jason, he was there for everybody. Like, he was such a great guy, just all around, and, like, he was funny, he was charismatic, he had all this great qualities to him, and I wanted to, like, be like him, you know, and I didn't succeed. I'm nowhere near on that level, not by a long shot, but, like,
I don't know about that.
But, like, but, you know, he's what got me to move. When, you know, growing up, I was very introverted, I was very shy, I had, like, no self-confidence, you know, and, like, it meant a lot, and he said he really appreciated those words, and he gave me some words of encouragement. He's like, you know what, man, you're doing great, you know, so don't be too hard on yourself. And I'm like, and I appreciate that. I was like, thanks, bro. And so, and, you know, I left the booth, I was holding it together, and I guess I fully hadn't processed what I had said or did in that past, like, 5 minutes, because, like, my body was moving on automatic now. I got done. I looked at the photo on my phone that we took. I swiftly walked over to, like, a corner of the room that was surprisingly, like, empty. And I just let out, like, the biggest, like, exhale of my life. Like, I was like, oh my god. And I was like, oh my god, I really did it. I did it. Holy shit. Like, so, like, for a lot of people, they're like, I get it. It's probably, like, not that big a deal, but for me, like, that was huge. I was proud of myself. I was like, holy shit. I was like, oh my god, I did it. Like, so, and so, I decided to ride this momentum, and this is the part where I'm not sure if I overstepped or anything. I wouldn't doubt if I did, because I have had that problem before where if I feel too good about myself, I just, like, keep going, and I don't know where to stop. I've had that issue before, and it's something I have been working on, but you know, whatever. So I was like, you know what? I was only able to do that because of how good every other actor, like, made me feel. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back. I'm going to circle around to the other actors who I've talked to, and I'm going to just say thanks. So, now granted, I did not get to every one of them, because either they had lines or they were up out doing other stuff or whatever. But I went to everyone I could, and I did. I just stopped by, and I was like, hi, again, and they were like, oh, what's up, Stan? And I was like, and I told them, you know, I pretty much told them the same thing. I was like, I just got done talking to Walter Jones. He played my childhood hero. I won't lie, I was tweaking out, like, the whole time. And I want to just say thank you because, like, you know, you making me feel so welcome here and, like, this whole area and all these cosplayers and stuff, like, it's really thanks to all you guys that I managed to work up the nerves to go and talk to him and really achieve that milestone. And, like, everyone I talked to, like, they were very supportive. They're like, oh, dude, that's awesome, you know, good job. And so, like, that also was nice. I wouldn't doubt if I weirded a few of them out, but they were nice about it if I did, you know. So, but yeah. So that was the thing, and the only other thing about day 3 was the photo op I did, which was towards the end of the day. It was actually with Johnny Young Bosch, who was the winner of the vote, or the last winner, I should say. And he was cool. He immediately recognized the Blazer brace. And so he was like, all right, cool, I'll morph with the frog coin, you morph with the Brazier Brace. And I'm like, sweet, dope.
And then
one thing
after he morphs, he goes.
Yeah, I just started making chimp noises. But no. One thing that was cool about Johnny, actually, because I guess he probably also caught on that, like, you know, they're moving the lines quick, and so there's no real time to talk. Really? So when the line opened up for people to line up with him to, like, get their photo ops, he actually came out of the photo booth and he just came and said hi to all of us for, like, a quick, like, 2 minutes, which I thought was really cool of him. But yeah, that was pretty much day 3. The only other thing that was to it was me saying goodbye to Matthew Bradley, who I had met by this point. I forgot to mention it, but I had actually met Bradley at the hotel. We were both, like, waiting on food to arrive, and we just kind of talked. And he's a cool guy. Shout out to him. But yeah, Matthew, Bradley, and TJ. Saying goodbye to them, saying hope to see you again in a couple years if there is another show. And just talking to them about, like, stuff they like to do, their hobbies, their passions, etc. And it was really cool. Excuse me, sorry. And so the one thing I want to know, other than that, and because it only just popped in my head now, I probably should have said it earlier, but whatever. So I think I said it before, but if not, I'll say it again. Day 3 was kind of where some issues popped up for some people because, like, they rearranged the panels, like, last minute. So, like, the schedule was all off. And they actually canceled one panel to create another panel, which they closed they canceled the closing ceremony to make a Jungle Fury panel because of how they had so many Jungle Fury actors there. And I was like, okay, cool. It was also during this time of me going to these panels that I met 2 sticks in the mud. So, like, this event was very, you know, positive energy for the most part. Except for these 2 guys. One guy who... I don't know what his deal was. I didn't talk to him for very long, but he was like, God, all the staff here is incompetent. You know, like, and he's just kind of going off, and I'm like, okay. Like, I just let him have his piece, and I just don't care for it. The other time, this wasn't a dude I talked to, but I did overhear him. And I saw what the infamous PMC douchebag looked like. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, that's not like his official title, it's just kind of what I call him. But there's one dude who kind of gained a reputation over the past few years. Because he's shown up to every PMC for the past few years. And he's become known for asking the actors, like, really, like, leading or insensitive questions, and then, like, getting mad if he doesn't, like, get the answer he wants. Right? And it makes me wonder why he hasn't been banned from the event yet, honestly. but no, and I just hear his voice, or at least a voice that sounds a lot like him, as I'm, like, getting ready to go to one of the panels. I think it was the fan film panel I was going to, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong. And he's talking to one guy, and I don't hear the full extent of their conversation. We need 6 Rangers to morph in front of him, tell him to chill. Bro, yeah, for real. And he's raving to this other dude, and he's like, was my question really that bad? And now, granted, maybe he is innocent in this instance. I don't know. That panel that he was at, which was the Dino/Cosmic Fury panel, at least at the time of this recording, has not been put on YouTube yet. And I have not watched it.
And maybe this guy just has extreme autism or something. Maybe.
Also possible. But from what context I could glean, he apparently, it was not Linkara. That would be funny, but it's not Linkara.
No, it was the Lightbringer, actually.
Oh, God. But, from what context I can gather, he apparently voiced that he was, like, upset about the Orange Ranger in Cosmic Fury. And I guess he felt that, Fern, the character who became the Orange Ranger, that he felt she didn't deserve it or something like that. And the other actors did not take that very kindly, as they shouldn't, you know?
Right.
And so that's what I gathered. Again, I could be totally wrong. Because, again, at the time of this recording, I have not seen the panel yet. It's not up on YouTube yet. I will investigate later, and then maybe if it's up enough, quick enough in time, maybe I can record a little add-on for Ryan to slap in to, like, clarify. We'll see. But yeah, as of now, that's what I glean the context as. But yeah, no, I now know, assuming it is the same guy, because it could just be a dude who sounds exactly like him. It's possible. Assuming it is the same guy, I now know what he looks like, and that was an interesting experience, is what I'll say.
If I ever run into him again, it is on site.
No, I'm not gonna do that. But yeah, so I think that's about all I can think to note. Unless you guys have any questions or anything about the whole event.
I have two.
Go for it.
You've kind of touched on both of them in different parts. So the latter one in particular might be kind of a stupid question, so sorry in advance. First question, do you think that because this could be kind of the last Power Morphicon, or at least the last one with the franchise being in kind of a stable spot, given the Hasbro stuff, do you think maybe the energies that everyone was giving kind of came from that? Because it kind of sounded to me like everyone was sort of trying to, you know, this might be the last time, let's just try to celebrate the series, you know, because it means so much to us kind of vibe. That was sort of what I was getting from what you were saying.
Yeah, that was absolutely a vibe. Because a lot of people I talk to, because here's the thing. Now, and I get it, because, like, there's this big, like, thing going on with the internet lately, especially if you're in, like, collector circles like me and Ryan are. And Ryan, I don't know if you're, like, as much into the community aspect of it as I am, so maybe you've heard about this or not. But, like, there's this big thing going on right now where, like, it's positivity versus negativity and how much is appropriate and when, right?
Sure.
And, you know, sure, that's a debate you can have, and you could have an intelligent discussion about it. And the stereotype of the people who tend to side towards positivity is that, oh, they don't actually think about the stuff they buy or that they enjoy. They just want to, like, say everything's perfect and, like, there's no room for improvement, and you're just a hater if you think something could be done better, you know? And I get that. There are people out there who are like that.
Yeah, I've seen that too a little bit.
But here's the thing. I didn't get that vibe with the fans who are here. Were they doing their best to, like, celebrate this franchise? Yes. But I don't think any of them were, like, blindly followers or stupid, okay? Like, they very much acknowledged Hasbro did them dirty. Or at least all the people I talked to. They all very much acknowledged that this could be it, you know? And that they really needed to, like, pull something in order for things to continue. So, yeah, I definitely think that that was in the back of everybody's minds, similar to me, because that was one of the again, like I said, that was one of the motivations for me to go this year, was this could be it. And a lot of people there, it was also their first PMC. It's not like I was the only one, you know? So yeah, they probably were thinking like I was, where it's like, shit, I kind of have to be there, you know? And I kind of have to give it my all, right? Yeah. So, yeah, no, I get that. I completely get that.
Sure, yeah, that makes sense. My second question, again, you seem to have kind of touched on this here and there, and I feel like this is sort of a stupid question given what we know about what Hasbro is doing with the franchise so far. My approach to it might be a little bit more positively than yours is, but I don't know enough about what's going on to really have an opinion. After this event, given all this, you know, positive energy that you were getting and sort of like the experience itself, you know, I'll sort of fork this a little bit. Do you feel better or worse about both the community and where Power Rangers is currently at and where it could go?
So, I feel better about the community for sure. Because, like, this event proved that no, there are, because, like, so for those who don't know, despite Power Rangers still being, like, one of the biggest franchises, like, kids franchises in the US, right? It's huge. It is.
Right.
Sales numbers are big, okay? It's kind of like the punching bag of the online toku sphere. Like, there's this elitist attitude surrounding it that I never understood. There are people who will look at, like, Power Rangers and be like, oh, that's stupid kid stuff. I watch toku for adults, like Super Sentai, you know, and meanwhile...
I've seen Sentai.
Yeah. So, like... And it's just this, like, elitist, like, stupid attitude, honestly. Like I never understood it. And, like, there's this running gag within the Toku group that me and Ryo are a part of, where I'm, like, the only Power Rangers fan, quote unquote, right? And, like, the thing is, that's, like, barely a joke, unfortunately. But no, like,
I'm not a fan.
no, Ryo, you've transcended fandom. You're beyond fans.
That sounds stupid. That sounds like an OnlyFans spinoff.
I hope not. Oh God.
Beyond fans.
Power Rangers
And
Beyond.
it's just you in a freaking wind tunnel.
I'm
But,
going to die. It's going to be great. Watch me.
Jeez. But yeah, this event proved that no, there are people who still have genuine love for this show, this franchise out there. They're just avoiding all the, like, stupid crap that's on, like, Twitter and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, so it made me feel better that there were definitely people out there who were, again, genuinely just in love with this stuff. It was nice. And as for where the franchise is at, I guess technically it made me feel slightly better because, like, here's the thing. This morning, Power Morphicon actually did announce that they do plan to do a 2026 show. So, there's at least still that, right? So, at least as far as we know, the con will keep going as long as people keep funding it, right? But that said, that doesn't replace the show. You know what I mean?
Right.
I want more Power Rangers. I want this franchise to keep going. And yeah, technically it'll still be going in the form of, like, toys, because, like, the Playmates deal and stuff.
And isn't there supposed to be
But
a reboot as well?
That got canceled.
Oh, wow.
So Hasbro, however, is like, we're gonna keep the show license but not give it to anybody. Screw you guys. And that makes me angry. That makes me so angry.
Right.
Because, yeah, they could sell it for a good buck. And that's when actually, you know, continue it.
You want to know how much Hasbro paid to get the master license for Power Rangers off of Saban?
How much?
I could be misremembering, but I'm like 75% sure on this. I remember reading they paid $400 million. So that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money, but that also sounds like less than what Power Rangers deserves.
Right, I could see what you mean by that. Yeah. 522 million? Okay, thank you, Alex. Yeah. Friggin'... Or were you just guessing? Was that not an actual... Oh, from Saban until... Yep, yeah, okay, she did look it up. Thank you.
Yeah,
But yeah,
right.
no, 522 million. That's a lot of money. Like... So... Yeah, no, they could Hasbro could easily sell it for like 600 mil. If they really wanted to, you know? And it has been a talk in circles about who could possibly take it other than Hasbro. Some people have said it should just become Netflix, period. I don't agree with that. Like, please don't.
Yeah, no. I don't
No.
trust Netflix.
Now, granted, if there was literally no other option, then okay, fine, right? But let's not, if there are. Some people have said Paramount, some people have said, I can't remember the name of the channel, but apparently, like, Comcast has their own, like, TV channel that they do, or something like that.
Cock.
Yeah. Freaking... Some people have said Universal, which I could see that. You know?
They just make it an attraction and do nothing else with it.
That would be the big fear, if Universal got it, yeah. Rather than making, like, a show out of it, yeah.
Part of me wants it to go back to Bandai, but that would probably make toys difficult.
They're the ones who sold it to begin with. Fuck them.
No, Bandai did not sell it. Saban sold it. So...
The reason why
man,
Bandai had the
Saban.
toy rights back when we were kids, so that's part of the
Yeah.
reason why.
No, I could see Bandai doing it. And here's the one that I personally support most. Although I will acknowledge that it also comes with its own risk. Toei has its own U.S. branch. Toei could just buy the show, and then they would just write both Sentai and then also adapt it into Power Rangers.
That's a good idea.
You know?
Probably make it easier to do
Like-
crossovers too.
Yeah. So that's where that would be, in my opinion, the ideal scenario. But like again, I acknowledge that it could easily go topsy. But yeah, so the franchise is in a dark time right now, and people are scared, and it's understandable, for sure. So. I hope that answered your question.
It did, thank you. I feel like it was kind of a dumb question because we haven't really had much new information about it.
It's
But
the end of an era.
yeah, I'm at least glad that you more or less had a good time and were able to meet or was able to meet Walter Jones.
Yeah.
Because besides,
Anyone else have any? Oh, go on. Sorry, Ryan.
I was gonna, it's okay. That was kind of something I was sort of waiting for. Like, okay, you know, I want to see I want to see you have like this big redness in your face, smiling, meeting Walter Jones. So I'm really glad that you got to meet him.
Redness?
What makes the red man red?
Well, you're going to jail for that one.
I guess I
Probably.
technically have a third question that I've been kind of. You've already answered it, but I feel like I need to answer
No,
it for the sake of the
I
show.
will not kiss on T.W. Johnson on the mouth.
Well, you don't have
Why
to. That's
not?
what I'm gonna do. But no, I was just gonna ask work harder.
I knew it was going to be Carter related.
Okay, I know he wasn't there, and I won't lie. When you were showing the pics, I was also waiting for him. But I'm just thinking, like, you know, I gotta ask her for the sake of the show because I make a big deal about Carter all the time because he's my favorite
Yeah.
Red Ranger. So.
Right.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
For a second there, I thought he had said work harder. I've got a
Work
question.
harder.
Yeah, I've got a question for you. Work harder.
Ow. F.
I got a question for you. Go to the next one.
It'd be
How
wild.
about everybody else? Do you guys have any comments, questions, etc.?
I like this series, but it's dead now.
Yeah.
I'm glad you had fun. I personally can't imagine being excited about anything to even half that degree. So I'm a little envious.
You should come with me in 2 years, bro.
I'm too antisocial for that.
Bro, you don't even have to socialize. That's the thing. People will socialize to you.
Yeah, gross. I'd have to be around people.
I love Alex's question. Okay, I'm gonna read this. Did you feel any of the actors could pick you up and throw you? Honestly, I feel like all of them could. I'm not gonna lie. Like especially Brennan Mahila and Salen Ward. Like those two are built, bro. They probably could freaking bench me if they really wanted to. I ain't gonna lie. Like, Brennan is 0% bias. He actually is a personal trainer, if I remember correctly. Yeah. But yeah, in 2 years, Mizuho field trip to PMC 2026. We should all do it.
Dude, we can't even get a field trip to a different state.
California is also a different state. I don't know if you noticed.
I'm not talking or alluding to that, but sure.
Yeah, I know. But friggin'. But yeah, we should all go, especially if like Carter and Billy are there.
Perhaps.
Yeah, I'd totally love to go. Kelly is there.
But yeah, I guess that's it. So I hope you enjoyed hearing me yap about PMC for way too long. But you know, there it is.
Sure, yeah. I'm
Have
glad
you
you
given
had
up on
fun.
life yet?
No, this renewed my hope in life. Like that was the weird thing about this this whole experience for me. I had never felt this way before. When I had gotten home, like, or rather, I guess by the time it ended and I got back to my hotel to like sleep a little bit and then pack up, right? I was super tired by the end of all of it, but I felt good. It was weird. You know? I don't know if you guys have any idea what I'm talking about, but like...
Nope.
Like, okay, to give you a visual, you know that scene at the end of the Cell fight with Teen Gohan, where he incinerates Cell and then he like falls to the floor and like depowers and he's like got the big smile on his face and he's like breathing heavy?
Yeah.
And then
That
I'm
was
like,
me.
you just
That was me. Okay.
you got somebody killed?
Yes.
Who was it? Was it Goku?
No. It was my dignity.
I think I know what you mean, though.
You never had that.
Yeah, no, like, but yeah, no, like, I felt great, but I was so tired.
You know, this was not to sound weird, but I'm quite proud of you because this was a big trip, and you know you got to meet your one of your heroes, and you got to really celebrate your favorite franchise of all time with so many like-minded people. So I'm glad you did this, and you know.
No, I appreciate that, bro.
Of course.
Yeah, I'm glad you got to go to enjoy it for yourself, and it's been very fun listening to hear you talk about your experience there, because
Yeah, I appreciate. Like, honestly, I didn't know how I was gonna feel like vacationing by myself for the first time, and honestly, I recommend everybody give it a try at least once, because it's very different experience from like going with other people. And honestly, me personally, I thought it was relaxing, like just being alone with my thoughts and not having to deal with like bullshit, you know?
Yeah.
oh yeah, because you're on your own time. You don't have to wait for someone else to do something with you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I would honestly, yeah, again, I'm not joking. I would recommend everybody try it at least once. Like, and it doesn't even have to be something like super huge like PMC. It could just be like going to like another state to sightsee or something. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Or going to Burger King.
or that, yeah.
Go to the next state over just to go to Burger King.
Just go to,
Yeah, bro.
depending on, like, if you went to, like, I think it's like Chicago or Cincinnati or wherever the McDonald's headquarters is, because apparently you can get like worldwide things in that one location. So.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Ryan, you should go to like the biggest DBZ convention ever.
that would be, I think, KamehaCon in Texas, and I was thinking about. I once I heard that he's like, you know what, maybe I should do this, and there was a Tails one in Texas, but now they've moved over to Indiana, and I don't know if I want to go all the way over there, but I don't know.
But yeah, no, absolutely do KamehaCon and tell us how it goes.
Perhaps.
Right. Yeah, where's that at?
That's in Texas, I believe. I don't know specifically
Yeah.
where.
Okay.
Probably, I'm gonna guess Austin. I'm just guessing.
St. John.
Austin, St. John.
It's in Dallas. Ooh, my sister lives in Dallas. Dude, we can totally do that.
Oh, okay, Dallas. Interesting.
Dallas?
Comes back from the con. Some French guy wouldn't stop quoting the fucking Consensu to me. It's okay, Ryan. One day you'll know who we were talking about. We've told you about him.
No, I think I know. I have two guesses, but or really one, but yeah. So I guess that'll bring us to a close then. So thank you all for listening, and we will see you all next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.